The NBA draft is here. We've had trades, we've had free agent signings before everything's even started. We're going to talk about it all as it breaks down. And Michael Bolton, he's ready.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy Basketball, your daily fantasy basketball podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd, and Macarena. I'm also the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com, and you can find me on Twitter as always at redrock_bball, on TikTok at redrock_bball, and on Instagram at Locked On Fantasy Basketball. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Thank you also for making Locked On Fantasy Basketball your first listen every day. We are free and we're available on all platforms, and you are on one of those platforms right now. You're live on YouTube with me for the NBA draft, which is great. Love to have you guys here. So if you haven't thumbed it, what's going on? What are you waiting for? We're talking draft. We're waiting for this first pick to come in, which I don't think is going to be a particularly big shock or anything along those lines. But that's okay, as I realize I just don't have myself up on the screen. Probably need to get that across. There we go. Just be aware. Last time, I think last year in the draft, ended up being so much data coming through that the show ended up crashing. I hope that's not the case here today. But we hope everything goes okay on this show. Yeah, I don't know why that just dropped out to black there. So I apologize. So we did have a trade that went down earlier today. Deni Avdija moves across to Portland for 2 first-round draft picks and 2 second-round draft picks. It's a lot. Yeah, pick 14 is not worth what Deni is now, and it's the second best pick from 2029 that the Wizards get, plus 2 seconds. It's a lot, though. But what I think this does show is, A, the Blazers need to get out of the luxury tax. That's fine. They did that. But it also shows to me that this haul's, it's a decent amount. It's not a huge amount, but it also, I think, shows that the Wizards did not view Deni, because some people thought Deni, future star, breakout guy. I don't think the Wizards viewed him that way. So when someone said, we've got 2 draft picks here, 2 firsts, and maybe you can trade Brogdon for a third, they have to make that move, because they didn't view him the way that some seemed to pump him up like out of control towards the end of last season. He is going to slot in and start in Portland. He's, I think, going to be relatively mid for fantasy, but there's still a lot of moves that can happen there. For Washington, well, there's going to be a lot happening there. We do think that Alex Sarr is going to end up in Washington. Will he start at the 4 or the 5? I don't know. Will Kyle Kuzma be there? What it does mean is we're almost guaranteed that Bilal Coulibaly is going to start in Washington, clearing out that space for him with Deni gone. Of course, all of these things adjust as free agency and the draft and trades and all those sort of moves occur. But at the point of where we currently are, that's sort of how I am seeing that situation. We also had Nick Claxton re-signing for 4 years, $100 million. That is... it makes it harder for Noah Clowney to have a big year next year. I think Clowney can still start at the 4, and they should be looking to trade Cam Johnson and Dorian Finney-Smith perhaps as well. But Clowney's best run would be being as a starting center. I think this does hurt any real value of Day'Ron Sharpe, who could also be on the move. But I think there's a decent chance that Clowney does start next to Claxton. Claxton will be in a very similar position to what he was this season, which wasn't particularly strong. It was fine, but it wasn't like he didn't have an awesome season. But he's back. 4 years, $100 million. Of course, they can't trade him until whenever it is, December or January, if that was what they were looking to do. It's good to have you guys here on the live draft show. Jackson said, isn't it midnight in Aussie? First of all, don't call it Aussie. Second of all, it's 10 a.m. So no, it's not midnight. Am I going to have my mock next to it? I am not going to have my mock next to it. I can't put too much stuff on the screen. Maybe I should have done that and put the mock draft list up there, but that's not what I'm going to do. I am going to have a ticker that runs across the bottom of the screen with the current draft picks and some other sort of, graphics that I've been working on. It's just, you've got to be real cautious about overloading the system too much. I hope. Is OG really worth $200 million for 5 years? Yeah, I think so, but everything's got to be taken within context, right? Like, that's the cost. So you traded away Barrett and quickly to get him. You brought in Mikal Bridges to go for it. You had to pay that amount. Now, giving away 5 first-round draft picks and then paying OG and Obi $212 million, including a player option, is a very steep cost for 2 non-all-star wings. But what was the other option? They lose OG and they can't replace him? That's not a tenable scenario. Yeah, not a tenable scenario. All right, let's look. Make sure we're just checking it. It does appear that Zachary Ricochet is going to go at number 1. You're well aware that I would not be doing that. I would not be taking Ricochet at number 1. I have Ricochet at 13 on my board. I don't think we'd be all that interested in him for fantasy next season. Would he start? Maybe. But Jalen Johnson's there. Capella and Okongwu are still there. DeAndre Hunter somehow is still there. Yeah, Sadiq Bey won't be there because he'll be dealing with his ACL, but he's also restricted free agent, so I don't know what ends up happening there. But Ricochet doesn't have the best fantasy game. I don't think he's the best player. I don't think he's anywhere close to it. But we will find out, won't we? Do I think Klingon drops to the Grizzlies at 9? No, I think Portland takes him at 7. I wouldn't... Yeah, this is such a weird draft that Klingon's got a really good skill. Rim protection. I think he has a lot of struggles in a lot of other areas, and I just think there's a very low upside sort of a player. And if I was the Grizzlies, I'd lean into playing Vince Williams and Jaren Jackson as my 4 and the 5, or Clark and Jaren. Honestly, I wouldn't be... I 100% would not be giving up assets to trade up in this draft to grab someone like that. Why is consensus lower on Tyler Smith? Again, because I think he's a poor defender, which I get. The G League context is something that people haven't really always figured out. Who knows? Like, maybe he is bad. I think he's actually going to be pretty good, as you're well aware. But I also, if this was a regular sort of draft, I probably wouldn't take him in the lottery. I'd take him at 15 or 16, but I just don't think this draft is very good. Do I think the Wolves would trade Cat tonight? I would be absolutely stunned if that happens. Almost no chance. Shams, I'm told Jimmy Butler will not be signing essentially with the Heat or any other team ahead of his opt-out in 2025 free agency. Interesting. Don't really know what to make of that, but that's interesting. All right, we are waiting for this first pick to come in, which I hope is going to be a fun one, but we'll find out, won't we? I hope it's fun. I hope all of this draft ends up being fun. Yeah, it is a tough one. What am I looking at here? Yeah, look, I find it really hard to adjust and evaluate a lot of these players in the draft because of the just the lack or the big deficiencies in the game, the lack of real true upside sort of guys, everyone not being an older prospect, basically. It makes it harder. Before we do this first pick, I am going to go ahead and tell you, though, that today's episode is brought to you by eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience is the formula for winning championships. It's also what keeps your ride or die alive, and eBay Motors has everything that you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. And with 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber and not cash from all the parts you want at all the prices you need. Or the other way around, maybe. The parts you need at the prices you want. Yeah, that's it. It's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins, unlike so many teams in this draft. Keep your ride or die or car alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit is only available to US customers. All right, checking in. If there's any more foolishness going on. Nothing yet. Where do you guys stand on the Avdija trade? Yeah, which side do you think made out? So Mr. 100, Josh, do you think Deni will be top 100 this season? Borderline. He doesn't have the greatest fantasy game. He will, of course, this is going to depend. Like, he's 8 in there. What do they do at 7? Shaden Sharp, Scoot Henderson, Anthony Simons, Jeremy Grant. Given that roster, I would say it's almost impossible for Deni to be top 100. Almost impossible. Where is Bronny going? Lakers. How do I feel about Holland at 11 to the Bulls? I think that the Bulls could actually, like, that could just be them tripping over themselves into good luck. If that's the case, great. Avdija at 4 years, $55 million, it looks like a good contract. Yeah, 100% it's a good contract. It's very, very good as a contract. It's really, really cheap for the player that he is. I don't think he's a star. I don't think he's a future breakout guy. I don't think he's an all-star, but I think he's a really good role player who fits in a lot of different spots, and that is a fantastic value contract. Love that. Any chance that Bronny goes in the first round? Almost no chance. How many players in this draft would I say would start within the first month? Good question, Nectarius. I'd have to probably wait and see what happens. I'll go ahead and say 2. I just don't think it's just not very good. I think 2 would be my guess. All right. Waiting to see on this pick. I don't have the actual broadcast up on my screen because, again, just don't want to be wasting bunches of bandwidth on videos streaming through as I'm trying to get this stuff going. What will the Jazz do with the 10th pick? The Jazz are a massive wild card. I would expect they probably look at a guard there, but they desperately need forwards. There's Lowry, obviously, but he's like a power forward. Like, who's the wing on that team? The problem is that the wings in that zone aren't really super great. It depends who falls. Like, if Ron Holland's there, that is what I would do. But, yeah, it is hard. Wizards will move Brogdon for another pick. Yes, I agree. All right. I just saw a little discussion here from James Edwards III saying, would Keegan Murray have gone number 1 in this draft? Maybe. Tim Cato says G.G. Jackson would have. Maybe. He would have gone top 5, that's for sure. G.G. would have. And Keegan probably would have. All right, there you go. It is Zachary Ricochet going to the Atlanta Hawks. There you go. Happened. It's a, yeah, I don't know. I don't want to say it's a weird pick because it's a little bit weird. Like, I don't know. I'm just not a huge fan of that selection. But it seemed like that was the direction that things were going for quite a while, and that's where we ended up. So Ricochet goes at number 1 to Atlanta. He's a 6'9" forward from JL Borg. He sort of maybe can shoot. He can sort of maybe defend. His passing numbers are absolutely horrific. Maybe he can do that. I'm not sure he's a rebounder. I don't think he's going to be a standard league draftable guy in fantasy, but we just really do need to see what sort of direction the Hawks go in, and if they decide to make different changes to their roster and move on from guys like one of the centers or move on from DeAndre Hunter. There's a bunch of different things that they could be doing in that spot, but that's where things get a little bit tricky. So Ricochet goes at number 1 in the draft. There you go. Yeah, we sort of always knew that this would be what they'd be. We didn't always know. It always seemed like Alex Sarr would be that guy, but of course there were concerns about the fact that Sarr just refused to work out there, so the Hawks went a different direction. I really just don't, I just don't really get it. I know. I don't know why the screen's going black, but hopefully it returns to action and we get back in business here. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, there's going to be some issues here. Ricochet going at number 1. All right. This is almost... I would say this is almost definitely going to be... Almost definitely going to be old mate Alex Sarr. But, all the buzz would suggest that. Is that accurate or not? Well, we're going to find out. But I'd be really very surprised at this point if that wasn't the case. What else is going on here? Zachary, yeah, man. That's, yeah. Do you think that, would you think that Ricochet would start opening night over DeAndre Hunter? He could. I really don't think he will. Again, given the way this team is, and I don't think we're going to be looking at him as a fantasy guy this year. Jalen Johnson's in Atlanta. That's a weird pick. They don't play the same position, so I don't think there's really any worry about that. Let's have a look. Someone said, does anyone like Atlanta? I think they need a new GM. They've got a new GM. This is not the same GM that they've had the last couple of years. Does Ricochet cut into Johnson's production? I think Johnson's a better player than him, so I doubt it. The good thing about Ricochet is the size. The good thing about Ricochet is his age as well. All right. Even if, again, this team could still make moves, they could still do trades. I don't really expect your big blockbuster stuff going on, but it is possible. How many number one picks don't start? I assume they'll prioritize him. It's true, Billy Goat. But how many number one picks are this bad? Most do start, you're right. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. He probably will. And the guy that he would be replacing is DeAndre Hunter, who's very much not good. So you're right. He probably does start. I still don't want anything to do with him for fantasy. He's just not going to have high upside, at least for this season. He definitely won't be at number one on my Dynasty rookie ranks. Absolutely no chance of that. Will Sarr start? I'd be pretty certain that he does. It is going to be a little bit difficult to figure out because the rumors seem to be that the Sarr was like, I don't want to be a center, I'm a 4. They've got Kuzma currently at the 4. Could they play Kuzma and Sarr together at the 3 and the 4 now that Avdija's gone and play Bilal at the 2? But there's too many questions there. A, they've got to draft Sarr. B, is Brogdon, would Brogdon and Poole start together? Is Brogdon going to go? What the hell are they doing at center? Sarr should be the center, but I can see him playing at the 4. So I would be pretty shocked. I'd be pretty shocked if Sarr does not start at this stage. Yeah. All right. So we are going with Alex Sarr here at pick number 2. Shams just announced that. So Alex Sarr, Olivier's brother. This is the guy that I've had number 1 on my board the whole way through. So he ends up going at pick number 2. This is, I think, a pretty big W for Washington. I think he will end up being draftable for fantasy. Not in the top 50 at all, but I think he will end up being a draftable player. It's just going to depend a lot on how that roster overall shakes out. We still don't know that. There's still a lot of things that they can end up doing. But I think that is going to be, that's going to be something interesting to watch exactly how that plays out. So Sarr, if you're unaware, is a 7-foot tall big man, played down in the NBL in Australia. Some shooting ability. It's not fully there. Some shot blocking ability. Athletic. He didn't play a huge amount of minutes. That's pretty common down in the NBL. I think he's a guy that, we can compare him to guys like Evan Mobley, perhaps. His statistical profile was pretty similar to Chet Holmgren, not the level of rim protector that Chet is. I think this was a clear number 1 guy. Clear, very, very clear and obvious. In this class, number 1 player. Probably would have been top 4 or 5 in a lot of other drafts. Even in a debate for a slightly weaker draft for number 1. And I think Washington makes out really, really well here by getting him at that selection. I think that's really strong, getting Alex Sarr there. So that's a W, I think, for the Wizards. And he will remain my number 1 player for Dynasty without too much of a concern. What team do I think is most likely to trade up first live? Not Chicago, probably. A good question. Whoever it is probably going to make a mistake. Let's say it's... It's a really good question. I'll say not the Thunder. Let's say the Bulls. God, no, say the Grizzlies. I think the Wizards take 3 French players and jump into the French market. You pair him with Bilal and go full French. So they got pick 14 and 26 Washington. So what do you think they do? Salan and Dadier. Salan's probably gone by 14, to be honest. Nets should go with Castle, but they won't. Nets don't have a pick, my guy. So they won't be picking Steph Castle. That won't be happening. So you're good with that. This is Houston that is now on the clock. So we don't have to. Don't worry about the Nets making a pick. They do not have a single draft pick in this draft, Brooklyn, at this point. Could change, but they do not have a draft pick in this draft. So there we go. 2 picks down. Alex Sarr to Washington at number 2. Zachary Ricochet heads across at number 1. Why is that so black for so long? Something's off with that. I need to figure out what it is. But that's all right. We'll figure it out later. I think I know what it is. So Houston now. This is where teams will be looking, I would expect, to jump up because the Rockets are in a really intriguing situation. They don't have, they're not great, but they don't have hugely specific needs. Whoever this player is almost assuredly going to be a bench player if he ends up, if Houston keeps this pick, without almost any question. and therefore we don't really care that much for fantasy. It's probably going to be Reed Shepherd, would be my guess. But that would be it. A Jinsa later on. Yeah, that's another one. Is Wemby the clear number one in redrafts? He's an option for number one. I don't know if it's clear. It's to him and Jokic are clearly there. I wouldn't say that Wemby's clear, though. Does Sarr help Koulibaly at all? I don't really think that impacts Bilal much at all, to be honest. What draft range would I take Sarr? Really hard to tell at this point. So many things to change. But not before 70. No way. Maybe not 90. What's Obi doing? He's downstairs with my partner. Sitting down there. He doesn't want to come. He doesn't like when I record. By using OBS, run in admin mode, sometimes it acts up with certain apps. Yeah, I am using OBS. I don't want to screw with anything as I'm doing it right now. But I think that transition thing, given that black screen, I think it's just something I screwed up, to be honest, when I was adjusting it. Who is third on my board regardless of team need? All right, let me get to my board. It's Reed Shepherd's third. But I've got Ron Holland at 2. So there you go. So that's where we sit with that. We're waiting on this Rockets pick to come through. What's your guess for what the Rockets do here? Let's see. I'm looking at Wizards fans' reaction here. 2 French guys, number 1 and 2, by the way. With Sarr and Bilal, your defensive foundation is there now. Add to it. Yeah, that's probably true. I think some of the defensive value on those guys might be... here we go. It is Reed Shepherd that is going to Houston. Yep, makes a lot of sense. I think that he's a perfect bench player for this team at the moment. And I think he's going to develop into a pretty good player. He's a little undersized. The stats were out of control for Reed Shepherd, and that was massive. I had him third, obviously. This was the way that we thought that this draft would end up, with Shepherd going at number 3. And it's all played out exactly as the predictions suggested. So Reed Shepherd goes at number 3 to the Houston Rockets. Not a massive surprise there. And that's that. So, as I'm trying to self-produce everything we've got here, which is fine. We think, again, there's no real surprise going on here. By the way, I don't know if you guys, can you sort of tell the idea of the graphics setup that I've got going? Like what the theme might be? Maybe it's not super clear, but there's a theme that I'm going with. So Reed Shepherd, 6'2" from Kentucky. He's a shooter, gets a shot off quick, pretty good on his mid-ranges. Elite steal numbers, good block numbers for someone that size. His vertical stuff from the combine was probably a little bit overstated. He's not that level of athlete, but he's a solid enough passer, a really good hit-ahead sort of a guy. And this is I couldn't have thought of a better pick necessarily for this team, even though I do have Ron Holland at number 2. I think Shepherd here does make quite a bit of sense. He can play alongside Amen Thompson. Him and next to Jalen Green, it's very iffy, but Amen and Reed would be something I'd be really interested in long term. So we'll see exactly what direction they end up heading with what they do with Jalen Green and extension talks coming up. Shepherd, to me, I find that almost impossible to suggest that he is going to be any sort of fantasy option for this season. There's just not going to be enough playing time there. I don't really see any way that that's going to go down. But Reed, big steal numbers, big 3-point numbers, only played low minutes coming off the bench in Kentucky, but we know Kentucky guard bump. Might not quite be in play as much this season as it has in the past, but their best 2 players, Dillingham and Shepherd, came off the bench. So still some stupidity going on with the way those rotations work. Maybe we won't have the Kentucky bump next season when Calipari is not in charge. So that is also something to pay attention to. All right, so hit the thumbs if you're here, guys. I'd love to see those thumbs. Yeah, Billy Goat says he admitted that he inflated the vertical. Yeah, he did. He sort of pulled back on the standing reach and then jumped up higher. I don't know what the point of doing that is when, does he think the teams just read the number? I guess it's so that the number didn't look embarrassingly low so people just couldn't pick on it in a public sphere, so maybe. But everyone knows what the go was, surely. Surely. Let's try this thing and see if it goes black again. I think it might. And I think I know the reason for it. Yeah, it's all right. I'll fix. I can't fix it in this show because it'll blow everything up. So I apologize about this black screen. It's annoying. What I think, though, I do need to do right now, as I just bring this across, I do need to tell you, as we wait, that today's episode is brought to you by the Game Time app. Baseball. Game Time is an authorized ticket reseller for Major League Baseball, and that makes getting tickets faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer that you get to first pitch, and they've got so many different features on the Game Time app. They've got something called like there's a customize your spot. Oh, what am I talking about? That's the wrong part that I read. My bad. Easy to find and buy Major League Baseball tickets, flash deals, last minute tickets in your like views from your seat. Zone deals as well, where you just pick an area and they pick the best price for you. You end up saving money on that as well. You can also save up to 60% off buying last-minute tickets for sports, concerts, comedy, and theatre. So take the guesswork out of buying Major League Baseball tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets. Lowest price guaranteed. All right, so just getting ready for this this next selection to come through. It is the San Antonio Spurs. I'm just going to go back and check the data to make sure that I haven't missed a pick there. All right, let's go through here. Good to see all you guys here. Did you think that the Shepherd pick was the right one? I don't see what else they could have really done in that position. I mean, they could have done something else, obviously. I hope we're not seeing teams trade up here, honestly. That's where things start to get messy. Is my actual ticker working correctly? It looks like it is. Oh, apart from that, let's go and adjust that. That little formatting issue, which I don't like. There we go. All right, so Ricochet 1, Saar 2, Shepherd 3. All these guys, younger players, 19 years old. Frank Mason. I played this young guy in France this past season. No way he's the number one pick in the NBA draft. LOL, but I guess. Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, I don't get it. I don't even have Ricochet top 10. But this is where this draft is so wild. That I might not have him top 10. He might be the best player in this draft. The best player in this draft might be the 30th guy picked. I've never felt in my 10 years or so of doing this in a serious manner, I've never felt so much uncertainty in my analysis and the uncertainty of where guys should go, or looking at a player and saying, like, what do I even do here? Like, there's no one I want. But sometimes I'll be like, yeah, there's actually 10 guys I want here. It's just been so, like, it's so weird. It's just such a weird situation in terms of the way that the talent has spread into this year. Next year, really excited for it. Going to be super good. And 2026, probably really good as well. But at the moment, for this year's draft, it's not changing, is it? And that doesn't preclude random guys coming out of nowhere and someone having a big development, but we just got a big development here actually, because we got the pick for the Spurs, and just another one that I can't. The Spurs pick Steph Castle at number 4. Okay, like Castle's allegedly a point guard, but he's not. He definitely can't shoot at all. Just another one of those ones where I don't get it. I'm not really sure what we're doing here. There are so many other guys that I'd prefer in this area. He's got the size, absolutely, Steph Castle. There's no debating that. But did he handle the ball at college? Not at all. He can't shoot. He can defend, but he's not like Ryan Dunn. Oh, I don't know, man. He's a 6'6" point guard. He claims he's a point guard. He's a wing. He's a defensive guy. Not sure you needed a defensive point guard with Victor Wembanyama there. Don't know. I don't get it. But he could be really good. Maybe he is really good. I don't think he is, but maybe he is. Castle's fantasy translations are horrific. He's going to have a really strong role, though, I'm guessing. Like, I would imagine that he steps in and starts pretty early on. The other option was Trey Jones, but we also saw that when you've got like a defensive guy who's not really a point guard starting a point guard, how badly that worked last season. And not saying that Sohan is Castle, but like, maybe? No, he's not, but maybe? I don't know, man. I don't know. I hope they do something smart at 8. I tell you what I like. I love what the Wizards did at 2. I love what the Rockets did at 3. I hated 1 and I hated 4. I hate those picks at this point. Again, this could all turn out very differently. But there are other guys that I very easily or very, very comfortably would have taken in that position. And yeah, I don't get it, which is okay. I don't have to always get it because things can change and things can be different. All right, so, oh, that's the wrong screen. My bad. Didn't mean to put that up. We'll just move off that. Production error. All right, so there we go. Top 4 picks in the books. We are now at pick 5. This is the Pistons. What are they going to do? I would guess they're looking at Matas Buzelis. That's who I think they're probably going to pick. He can't shoot, so it probably fits in perfectly. What does Trajan Langdon think they need? This is where things get really wild. But look, Ron Holland to me, I know Ron Holland can't shoot, but Ron Holland and Asar Thompson with Fred Vinson coaching them would be something that I feel pretty good about. But, you know, we're nowhere near that. There's no way that Ron Holland is going here, unfortunately. Absolutely no way. A terrible... Oh, man. I don't think that Castle's going to be draftable, honestly, in fantasy, unless it's a last pick sort of a scenario. I just don't get it. Kevin, I haven't discussed about joining the new leagues because we don't launch them until like August. So that'll come through in August. Spurs will probably take Solan at 8. Yep. Pistons do need to pick a head coach. Holland has to go next. He definitely won't. Where do I reckon the beer goes next? The dildo, John Furphy. He won't go until the 20s, unfortunately. Where would you see Sarr if he was drafted next season? Next year. Well, I haven't done a huge amount of work next year. I've done enough to know of the strength at the top. Probably 4 or 5. It would be my early guess. Probably 4 or 5. Yeah, there is going to be some very disparate opinions, I think, on the Steph Castle spot. There's going to be saying, man, you guys did fantastically. You guys did this one right. Like people going, yeah, you did it right. You got it fantastic. And the others going, what are you guys doing? I do not understand it at all. But whatever. Maybe he can shoot. Maybe. I really don't. Defense is really good with Castle. I understand that. Don't know if he can pass. Don't know if he can shoot. Like, I don't know if he's a point guard. But it is, yeah. Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it. We'll see. What are you guys thinking? Pistons take Klingon so they can trade him. I don't think they will. Poppy's a joke at this point. I'm not sure how much input Popovich is having on the draft picks at the moment, to be honest. Topic to Detroit? I don't think so. It's possible. I don't think so. Cody Williams here would be decent. I do not view Cody Williams that way at all. So I don't think it would be decent. Cody Williams is a low usage player who had some really hot shooting, whose defensive stats are horrible, doesn't really pass or rebound very strong. He's young, he's got a nice size to him, but I don't really see it with him either. Like, that's not what I would be doing. That's what I mean. My opinions on players in this class are just wildly different to the way the guys are going. Like, my next guy on the board is Ron Holland, then it's Rob Dillingham. Then it is, I do have Topic at 5, but honestly, like, I'm actually changing that right now as to where I'm having him. I I'm a little worried about like Topic's lack of wingspan. I worry a bit about his shooting. I worry about a lot with everyone in this. But again, I can say that for anybody. So there's arguments to be made for nearly everybody. Right? You can easily make an argument you can make the argument for Ricochet. I get it. Maybe he does turn into a really strong number two player on a team. Usage, like lower usage, passing, shooting, defending wing. Really valuable. You could make the argument that Castle learns how to shoot. He's an unbelievable defender and he turns into Derek White. You could make that argument as well. I don't think it, but whatever. I think that Castle benefited significantly from playing for Connecticut. And I think it's going to be, at least initially, I think it's going to be pretty rough. And I don't think he's going to be draftable in fantasy. He might, but I think if we worry about rookie guards and their inefficiency stuff, it's probably going to be way worse here. The only thing I would say is that he's probably not going to take as many shots as other rookie guards do. Zach Edey is not in the draft. Yeah, he turned down a green room invite. Nikola Jokic is big chungus. Nikola Jovic is little chungus. What is Nikola Topic? What can he be? Don't know. Haven't thought about that one yet. He's the shortest of them all. Maybe he just needs something different, I think. Because I can't really find a way to shoehorn that in. I would wait for pick 8 until I give a pick on this. I don't think that's the way you should look at that, because they might have a plan for pick 8 and that guy goes at pick 6 and then who cares? Yes, when we look at their overall draft, we play all that into consideration. But I think each pick can be judged right on the dot. Yeah, look, again, there's so many different opinions. Castle's the perfect pick to pair with Wemby. I think it's actually legitimately the opposite. I don't think I want a defense-only, non-shooting, not great passing point guard to play with Wemby. I've got the defense. I need a shooter, a scorer. So but look, reasonable minds can differ. Maybe he does become good. Yeah, cool. There we go. All right, pick number 5. Ooh, Detroit. All right, so this guy was number 2 on my board, and the Pistons, from the top rope, like Sting, falling down, coming down with a baseball bat, they come in and they take Dutchie. Ron Holland. The shooting there is horrific. Like, Jaden Ivey can't shoot. Everybody can't shoot. Jaden Ivey can't shoot. Jalen Duren can't shoot. Asar Thompson can't shoot. Like, that's rough. But in terms of the value of the player, I really, really like that. I think Ron, I had him number 2, basically all the way through. I think he's this third dynasty guy. Well, no, I know that I've got him as the third dynasty guy. He is a 6'7" wing, played for the G League Ignite, really high usage player, some poor shooting numbers, but he's really good defensively. He can attack the rim. And if there's a situation you want him to go to, you want Fred Vinson teaching him. And the Asar Ron Holland 3-4-2-3 combination could turn out to be a massive, massive, massive wing group if they can shoot. It is a hard thing that Fred Vinson's going to have to duplicate himself somehow to be able to coach both of these guys in shooting at that level. Yeah, but I'm big on this for Detroit. First, is it coincidence the first pick that Troy Weaver's not there? I'm really big on what they do. I guess we'll find out. We'll find out. I know that I like it, and I am. The fit I don't love. The fit is weird, but I think there has to be a point, which is pretty sure what we're talking about here, where you just got to go with the guy that you think is the best, and a new GM, an incoming new coach, like you start to be like, well, we've just got to make moves for the guys that we like. And I would say that makes it not ideal for the future of Jaden Ivey. Again, not drafted by this team, some regression last season, some real shooting problems of his own. Ron Holland at 5 is very interesting. Very interesting. Another team is working to move up and secure Donovan Clingan, and it's Portland. Why? Why? You are picking at 7. Is Charlotte going to take Clingan? He's not good enough to do this. Ugh. Is this what they're going to do? Is this what they're going to do? Portland's going to move up to take Clingan. All right, there we go. That's something that's happening. And then so Clingan will play 20 minutes a night behind DeAndre Ayton, and they'll try to move off of Ayton at some point. But again, Clingan has some... Charlotte is trading back with Memphis from Jake Fisher. So Memphis has traded up to get him. But Woj is saying Portland's in the mix. We don't know yet. So Charlotte is trying to trade back. Wow. Okay. For Clingan. All right. I guess we're going to find out which team actually gets in there. And if whoever it is that moves up, whether it's Portland or Memphis, they are doing that to get Clingan. I don't really think there's a debate about that. But man, I don't think that Donovan Clingan is worth that. I don't think he's worth that. What a very, very strange draft this has been so far. So now we just need to find out who's actually moving into that slot. Oh, man. Detroit and Trajan Langdon, I think, are going to have to make some moves. I think Jaden Ivey is in real strife of hanging around there. Wow, that is, yeah. I'm a bit thrown off by that Ronald Holland scenario. Not that I don't like it, because I obviously do. So that's my top 3 guys gone. I've got Dillingham at number 4. So I don't think he's going anytime soon. But we need to now figure out what's actually going on with this pick. So in true NBA style, whatever happens here, Charlotte's going to be the team that allegedly makes the pick, and Charlotte's going to be, there putting a hat on him, and he's not going to end up playing there. All right. Still no clarity on this. See, most of the responses on Holland at 5 seem to be negative. Again, who would you have taken there? Anyone who thinks that was a negative move, who would you have gone for instead? If Clingan goes to Portland, Ayton and Williams should probably be traded. Yeah, but you always have to get someone to trade with you. And there is no way that they would have all 3 of those guys there. Or maybe honestly, maybe Rob Williams is cooked, and that's distinctly possible. But yeah, I don't know, man. What's the infatuation when the superior choice in Edie is right there? Martin, I don't know if Edie is a superior choice to Clingan, honestly, but I also don't understand the complete infatuation with Clingan. Best available on my board is Dillingham, who I've got at 4. So the top 5 isn't off the board for me. And honestly, right before the draft, I moved Bub Carrington up to number 5. This draft is so stupid. So yeah, I've got Dillingham at 4. So what are we doing here? Has this trade happened yet? Apart from what Jake Fisher tweeted, haven't seen anything more. Man, now there's people talking the other way around about Holland. Man, what a great situation for him. Okay. It is good that he went the top 5 because he should have. But yeah, I never thought that would happen. But it didn't make sense to me that guys like Buzelis were expected to go ahead of him, because I thought Ron Holland was very much better than what Matas Buzelis is and was. So that is pretty interesting. All right, can we get some confirmation on this, guys? about what's actually A, going on with the pick, and B, what? Now there's no trade. Charlotte is selecting Tijan Salan at number 6. What the hell? Oh, no way. Yeah. All right. Tijan Salan. What the actual... Okay. That is Charlotte. All right. Honestly, I don't even remember who their GM is. Tijan Salan at number 6. All right. I guess we're in business. Like, far out. So when someone said before, wait to see what the Spurs do at 8, assuming, I'm guessing, maybe I'll put words in your mouth, assuming you thought they were going to take Salan at 8, well, they're not. So that's what I was sort of meaning when we talk about the things that can change quickly. Just, yeah. Wow. It's something like there's a disconnect somewhere here. I'm just going to go back to check on news. Ooh, holy crap. Donovan Clingan will make it to the Blazers at 7. Cool. They shouldn't pick him, but that is crazy. Salan at 6. Oh my God. Okay. What's the idea here? What are people's thoughts on Tijan going here? Let's check in on the chat. 7 is going to be Clingan. Salan is a bust. Oh, there's a huge chance that he is a bust. Josh, who the hell is this guy? MT, thanks for checking back in for the first time in 3 months. We've done plenty of stuff on Tijan Salan. He's 18. He won't turn 19. Same age as Ron Holland. Won't turn 19 until after the draft. He's big, huge wingspan, but massively raw. Massively raw. Spurs have to pick Carter now. Maybe. Bloody hell. What a very, very weird draft as per... Well, not as per usual. No, yeah, as per usual. There's always something that's going down, isn't there? But this one is going to be Portland, and it will be... It could be a stunner. It would be a huge stunner, though, if this is not Donovan Clingan. I had Clingan at 9. Where I've actually got Clingan on my board. I've got him at 9 overall, so I don't... Like... I won't hate it necessarily. It's a little weird when you just traded for Generate and add Rob Williams last offseason, and like real chance that Clingan is never better than either of those guys. I think that's not. I think that's reasonable. I think it's reasonable to suggest that he might not ever end up better than both of those players, Donovan Clingan. But shiny. Oh, man. What I want to see, I did, of those player profile sheets that you see come up there, I did about 38 of them. I wonder how many how many guys end up going in the first round that I didn't create them for. Why would Portland draft a center again? I honestly don't know. Someone's got to move in Portland, though, surely. Maybe they don't take the big fella. Maybe they don't take Clingan. So where does Salan fit there? So obviously there's LaMelo, there's Brandon Miller, Miles Bridges almost definitely not coming back. So Miller, Salan, Mark Williams, LaMelo, opening at the 2. Probably not Trey Mann. Still an opening at the 2. Unless maybe I'm forgetting someone completely. Clingan will make it to 7, we're just saying. So he's fully assuming that that's where he's going. I'm going to assume that as well. But we just do not know. Yeah. This is pretty weird. All right, so I've got 2 of my top 5 still available. In fact, out of my top 7, 1, 2, 3, 4 of my top 7 are still available. But again, my board was very different because I just don't value these guys in similar ways to others or to the draft. If it's not Klingon, it's Connect. I would much prefer Klingon over Connect, to be honest. Maybe Time Lord to OKC. Like, who knows? Possibly. Rob Williams doesn't really fit their exact MO, but yeah, I don't mind that. Solan has probably one of the highest upsides. Yeah, possibly. But he's also got a huge downside risk. The thing about him is he's huge. He's 18, big shoulders. He's tall. He's like 6'9", massive wingspan. I think he's a little lost on defense, which I'd like him to be better at. I think he could shoot, but I'm also not certain. And then we do have it, Donovan Klingon going at number 7 to Portland. That means moves are happening. It has to. Or it means Rob Williams is Lonzo Balling, which is possible too. If Klingon is not a starter in Portland, I would not draft him in fantasy. But that team now, Jeremy Grant, Deni Avdija, DeAndre Ayton, Simons, Sharp, Scoot, there's no way that I want Avdija in a top 100 spot. I don't think I want Klingon there. But again, a lot can change depending on what happens. And if Rob Williams is healthy and on that team, what the hell happens there? What a weird... I totally understand just taking who you think is the best player available. Some of the arguments will come down to, like, I'm not sure that he's the best player available. But, reasonable minds can differ. He's got one of the best individual skills in this class, Donovan Klingon. And that's his rim protection. One of the best in the class. He's huge. 7'2". He's like 280 pounds. He played low minutes. He came off the bench and played like 13 minutes as a freshman. He can pass better than you expect. Don't think he's going to shoot. He's like a 50% free throw guy. Great rebounder. High field goals. Solid passing. Good blocking. He could be a really strong fantasy player. I just don't think there are 30 minutes a night in this guy at any point in his career. I think he's a very low upside player. I don't hate it at 7, but I also don't really... Yeah, look, if I was Portland, I wouldn't have taken a Rob Dillingham or a Topic there. I wouldn't have, because that's not what I need. I think... And Deni Avdija filled one of the other gaps as well in terms of getting some forwards. So they're in a weird sort of spot. Portland, I'm not sure Klingon is the answer, unless the answer to the question is who's got the lowest ceiling in the top 10. It sounds unfair, but I'm just... Yeah. Okay. That is 2 Connecticut guys in the top 7. And how much of that... Again, there's always a lot of context. The French guys getting a Wemby bump. The Connecticut guys get a 2-time defending champions bump. It's hard to know. I think it's possible. Yeah, that's crazy. Klingon at 7. You had him at 9, so it's not massive to me, but like when you just made a deal to get DeAndre Ayton, Joe Cronin's just throwing things around here. And they don't have pick 14 anymore. So now we really get to see what else can transpire here. Pick 8, we're back to the San Antonio Spurs. The general consensus was that this was going to be Tijan Solan. It's not, because he's in Charlotte. But maybe there's a trade that happens. But Solan is one of Victor Wembanyama's best mates. So that was part of that idea there, I guess. Let's get back into the chat. Ayton was so bad, this makes sense, I guess. Was he, though? He had a stretch of being quite poor, but overall, I don't think he was that bad. And honestly, I'm not sure that Klingon ever has a season that is better than anything that Ayton's done so far. And I'm not a big Ayton guy. So I think Ayton was not... He had some bad moments, but I'm not sure he was that bad. Not sure he was that bad. But, again, eye of the beholder. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Most sports are over. We still got the WNBA. What's the word? WNBA, PGA, NASCAR, and of course, Major League Baseball. But a lot of the other sports are off for the summer. So don't think that everything is slowed down because FanDuel is here to give you something every day. All customers on FanDuel get hooked up daily with either a boost or a bonus every day. Every customer, every day, boost or bonus. Something for everyone all summer long. So head over to fanduel.com/lockedon and start making the most of your summer. FanDuel's official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. And don't forget to gamble responsibly. Okay. Is there any way Ayton and Klingon can start together? Absolutely not. No way. What do I think? Did James Jones draft Ayton before Doncic? Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Or was it Ryan McDonough? Actually, I don't know. That might have been McDonough. But I'm certain that was an ownership decision. What I think the best move is for Chicago. We'll get to that when we get down to pick 11. If I'm any of these teams and anyone offers me any sort of future first-round pick, I would almost definitely trade out. But the Bulls do need to rebuild. They need to try and do something. Yeah, I'll figure out what I would do for Chicago when we get to that spot. But now we're at 8 for the Spurs. I would take Rob Dillingham here. And then you can maybe you can do a Dillingham combo with Castle and Vassell. And then shout out to that guy earlier. Maybe then I like the Castle pick more if you do take a Rob Dillingham, like who's a real scoring point guard threat. But yeah, who knows whether that actually transpires or not. It could be Devin Carter here, which another iffy shooting defensive guard who's smaller than Castle. I like Carter. I like his rebounding tenacity. That wouldn't. I know some people have suggested that. That wouldn't be what I do. But All right. What else have we got going on? So what's been your favorite pick so far? Not necessarily your best player, but the one we've gone, yeah, love that, nailed it. How have you viewed that? Would any contender want Ayton? Not sure. Not sure about that. There you go. Ryan McDonough drafted Ayton over Doncic. McDonough, yep. Thank you. That's what I thought. And then McDonough was basically out after that, wasn't he? And they promoted James Jones. That was after they fired Igor Kokoshkov after that season. And then James Jones said, we don't care about the draft. We will not scout. We don't care about picks at all. Like, the man said that out loud many times. What happened to Sarr? Nothing. He got drafted and went at number 2 to Washington. But glad to see that you're back here, Ricardo, asking questions that I just still cannot understand. Yeah, I don't know, man. If I look through this pick, or these picks, what do I actually like? I'll tell you what I like. Sarr at 2, yes. Shepherd at 3, yes. Holland at 5, yes. That's it. I don't really like the other ones necessarily. I'm not saying that they're bad. But I think Ricochet, Castle, way too high. I think Salan, probably too high. Klingon, borderline. That's borderline for me. Just not sure of the fit on that team, to be honest. Rob Dillingham at 8. Let's go. Except they just said he might be on the move to Minnesota, and I don't understand that for a second. What on earth does that mean, Shams? What? 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 Why would... What? Why? Rob Dillingham to Minnesota? Okay. Okay, now I don't know what on earth is happening. Rob Dillingham at 8, I love, to the Spurs. So they saw Salan off the board and we're just dipping here. We don't want to make this pick. All right, I'm just going to go ahead and put it as Dillingham to the Spurs, and we can adjust it later on. But I love this for them if they decide they're going to keep him. I had him at 4 in my last mock draft, Rob Dillingham, because I said, if you're worried about his defense, well, this is where you put him. You put him on a team where it doesn't matter that much. He can score, he can create, he can shoot. I really, really like it. But if he then moves to Minnesota, I don't really know what to think. I don't know where we go from there. Dillingham, yeah. That is surprising. Well, I say it's surprising, even though I did have Rob in that spot. The Minnesota part is what throws me off. He's only 6'1", he's short, but a usage player. He shoots really well. He can pass really well. He gets his own shot, which is a massive thing for a team like this. I think he would play fantastically, pick and roll with Wemby, off ball. I think it would make immense sense. Now, I'd love to see what Minnesota could allegedly be giving up in this spot, but I love it. If that is... Yeah, they have, as traded for the 8th pick and Rob Dillingham. Like, I mean, why? What? How? What did they give up? That is something. Okay. And I think that is, as much as I said, look, if you can trade out of this draft, I get it. I would try and do that. That almost was just too perfect to have Rob Dillingham going there. So what? Okay. So what for? How? What are they giving? If it's not Karl Anthony Towns, is it? Surely it's not. Who are they giving up? So Dillingham, you can't play Dillingham and Conley together. Way too small. Yes, and I guess if you're going to have Dillingham and Wemby being a good combo, Dillingham and Gobert is a great combo too. And Conley's obviously older, got the contract extension. It is fun. I like Minnesota making that move. I just want to see what they give up. And he's going to come off the bench for sure. Memphis is taking Zach Edey at 9. Holy shit, what? Okay. All right, we'll get back to this Minnesota one in a second because Zach Edey is going at 9. 9. Pick number 9. Zach Edey. To Memphis. Oh, no. All right. There's another one that I don't love. This draft is not disappointing. Well, it might. It might disappoint people who are fans of the teams. Still need more information on that Rob Dillingham one. Zach Edey to Memphis. Would he start immediately next to Jaren? No, I don't think so. It's possible. I don't think he would, though. I don't think he would. I think he would come off the bench with Brandon Clark, Vince Williams manning some of that position next to... next to them now. I just realized, where's my... Oh, there it is. Trying to find my right logo there. Yeah, okay. Interesting stuff. So, Zach Edey. You know Zach Edey is gigantic. 7'4" center from Purdue. He's from Canada, so that's an L. He's older. He's 22. 2-time defending college player of the year. Massive high usage guy in college. No way that sticks in the NBA. Defense is going to be a massive issue, like a huge issue, I think. He subsisted on like 81% free throw attempt rate. He can hit his free throws. Maybe he can shoot threes. Not sure. That might happen. That there is possibility of that. I'm not super convinced of it. What are we doing? Taking defense-limited big men who aren't going to be offensive hubs in the top 9. That's not for me. It's not for me. But that's okay, because not everything is for me. Other people will do things differently. I knew I was going to hate a lot of what happened in this draft just from a perspective of how I view these selections. Oh, so the Timberwolves traded, a 2031 unprotected first and a 2030 swap top 1 protected. You know what? As much as I like Dillingham with Wembanyama, it's a W. You get that sort of value out of it. Yeah, go for it. Minnesota just going insane. Just trading away picks. Yep, all right. You got a first, you got a swap. In 2030, what's the chances that Minnesota is better than San Antonio? 0. I would suggest 0. But yeah, the Dillingham one was tough, man. Like, he would have been perfect. I like the value of it, but yeah, Dillingham would have been perfect there. Wowee. All right. So now we wait for pick 10, which is the Utah Jazz. Did not really, like, Minnesota coming up there is pretty crazy to me. In that spot, yeah, that's pretty crazy. But, well, yeah, there we go. All right, so there we go. So now what do we make of that, like, craziness that just went down? The trade, Zach Edey at 9. As I check back in on the chat. Edey is the next Shaq. No. Matas Buzelis slide. Not really. How can one not worry about Dillingham's defense? No, yeah, you're right. You have to worry about it. But when you've got either Gobert or Wembanyama behind him, you're okay. You can hide a defender like that. Okay. Edey's going to be top 3 in this draft. See, the opinions on Edey are crazy. Like, if he's the 40th best player in this class, I wouldn't be surprised. I don't think top 3 is realistic. You're drafting Edey next season. I wouldn't touch Edey in fantasy either. Maybe last round pick. There is a chance that he could start. There's almost 0 chance that Zach Edey comes out and plays like 30 minutes off rip. Almost no chance that's going to happen. So, yeah, where does that leave us? Not in a great spot. I would think that's really fairly unlikely. So now wait to see what the Jazz do here. Cody Williams at 10 to the Jazz. Okay. Too high for me. But, in fairness, young and fills exactly the sort of position that they need because they don't really have any forwards at all. Now, Williams is a low-usage player in college coming out of Colorado. Not really the defender that his brother is. Shot the ball exceedingly well early in the season. Had quite a few injuries after that. I'm not going to bank on the shooting being real after playing, after shooting well for 10 games. That's just not a realistic scenario. But the size is there, and there's maybe this works. Again, it's just not one that I was super big on. But that's also okay. So Cody Williams, 6'7" wing out of Colorado, goes across to the Utah Jazzmen. Let's go check on something. Thought that I'd screwed up the formatting there. I did. All right, got to make that accurate. So yeah, again, just not it's a shock to me to see him go ahead of Matas Buzelis, just because of the way that I thought the people were going to be treating Buzelis. But no, it's not a crazy change, I don't think. But there you go. 6'7" wing from Colorado, athletic, but a little bit of a do-nothing player at this point. Still some room to grow into that. But we are 10 picks in, and no Devin Carter, who some thought would go here. No Dalton Connect, who some people thought was a lock in the top 10. So, yeah, just obviously things changing as they are wont to do. Pick 11 is one that's going to be funny, I'm pretty sure. It's going to be the Chicago Bulls, so we'll see what sort of foolishness we can get done with them at that spot. Are they going to trade it away? Are they going to try and get out of... Deni Avdija got traded for 2 first-round picks, and you couldn't get a first-round pick at all for Alex Caruso, by the way. I saw a tweet from Tom Haberstroh saying that Mikal Bridges was worth 5 first-round picks or more. Yeah, Mikal Bridges, 5 picks. Alex Caruso, 0 picks. And every comment was, man, that's because Alex Caruso's trash. Bridges actually averaged 19 points and Caruso averaged 10. And I just think, wow, basketball discourse still in a terrible position, a terrible place. A terrible place. Now, you can think that Bridges is a better player than Caruso. He is, and he's younger, and that all makes complete sense. But a 5 first-round pick discrepancy between the two is not relative to their value, and to say that Caruso is trash is just an insane misevaluation of the NBA, I guess. Cody Williams at 10. Wow. All right. So some, again, crazy picks. Cody Williams in a real positive for him. Some really strong finishing numbers at the rim. Not sure about the shooting. He's not going to be anywhere close to fantasy relevant this season. Not remotely close to it at all. He will. Look, who would start in that team at the moment? George, Sexton, Markkanen, Collins, Kessler, Hendricks, Collins. He's not touching the starting lineup, Cody. I wouldn't have thought, unless he just has an absolute blow up moment. There's no clear path there at the moment. The Bulls are taking hometown legend Matas Buzelis, and while I think that it's not a bad pick, the fact that the Bulls take the Chicago guy is extraordinarily humorous to me. Like, just amazingly humorous. The fit of Buzelis in Chicago, there are a couple of ways that it's good, and there's a way that it's terrible. Because Chicago has no one who can defend really at all. Or nobody. No defensive players at all. And Buzelis is probably going to fit in and replace Patrick Williams at the 4, but he also can't shoot. Now, maybe he's able to be a shooter. Maybe that was a weird G League Ignite thing. That's possible too. And then he can shoot, and then he's 6'10", 11, plays at the 4, and that's all well and good. But just compounds a lot of their issues in terms of shooting. But at least he is a player that theoretically can defend, can be a weak side rim protector because their center can't do that. So there's a little bit of, I don't think that's a horrendous pick from Chicago. I heard very, very weird whispers that Chicago were going to look at like Terrence Shannon there, which would have been like Chicago. But Buzelis going there is not bad. Let's have a look at my board. Someone said, can I see your board? At the moment, I can't find a way to share it easily. The best player available on my board is Carrington. And then there's Topic, Tyler Smith, Isaiah Collier, and Kal-El Ware. They're the best guys that I have available. I had Williams well down. I don't value him that highly. I had Ricochet down. I had Salan down as well. I had Buzelis at 10 overall. So him going to Chicago at 11 actually makes a bit of sense. The problem there is can he shoot? But there's a very clear... Look, I would be very much more interested in drafting him for fantasy this year versus Cody Williams, because he could start, play 29 minutes straight away at the 4 next to Vooch. But I still think the Chicago team has a lot of moves. Still to make, because we don't know what happens with DeRozan. We don't know what happens with Levine. We don't know what happens with Lonzo Ball. There's a lot of things that they can still do in this spot. But he is from Chicago, and that is one of the more Chicago things that you can do, or one of the more Bulls things that you can do. And they will, I don't know if they even have a second round pick, because if they do, they will take Terrence Shannon in round 2, 100%, because that's what they want to do. Let's get someone that the fans can go, yeah, he's from here, and then come in and pay for a playing team. That's what they do. Again, there's a lot of very different opinions about Matas Buzelis. Some people think he's terrible. I think there's a possibility that that's the case. But there are some flashes there. He's athletic, which the Bulls never are. But is he athletic in game, or is he athletic in dunk contests? And the shooting. All right. Now, it's Sam Presti. Now, if I am Sam Presti, and I'm not, I would be looking to move out of this draft, because, again, I don't think that these players are very good. But you're in a situation that there are some centers available here which would fit in as a nice backup, cost-controlled guy that could play at times alongside Chet Holmgren. So, yeah. Let's have a go. Let's go to my board and see what I could do here. So, my guys are Tyler Smith, Topic, Carrington. They've got Case and Wallace, they've got Shea, but they don't have the shooting in the backcourt. Take Bub. Topic, I don't think makes sense. Tyler Smith makes sense a little bit. Shooting, big man. Defensively can be a bit of a problem, but I think Chet can help that. It means that Jalen Williams plays down at the 3 a little bit more. Shea at the 1, Dort at the 2. It's not going to happen. No one believes in Tyler Smith. That's not true. There are quite a few analytic models that have Tyler Smith quite high. Not as high as I had him, which I ended up with him at 7. Let's have a look. In my last batch of mocks, had Kelly Ware going to the Thunder at 12. I'm pretty sure he won't. Pretty sure he won't go there. I just saw someone, I think it was Tyler from No Ceiling, say, his idea of Dillingham to the Spurs because of the defensive backup was perfect. He goes, and there's only one other team that made sense for, and that's Minnesota. And it's exactly what I said here. Is like, if you want anyone else backing up Dillingham that's not Wembanyama, it's Rudy Gobert, which is great. Man, the Bulls. As much as it might be the right pick, he could also be terrible. And did they do it because he's from Chicago? I guess we'll never know. I see some people speculating that Thunder will take Dalton Connect. I don't think Sam Presti has taken anybody that's older than 21 in any draft, so I'd be pretty surprised if they do that. But we'll find out. Can he Connect? Can shoot? I think. Not. Yeah, I don't. He would definitely be a bench player in Oklahoma City. Well, all right. Just waiting for this next pick to drop, and I'll go back into chat, see where you guys are at. Topic makes sense. A shooting modern point guard. It's just, but he's not really a shooter, Martin. Like he's okay as a shooter. I don't think he's a shooter. He's a pick and roll ball handler who is a negative wingspan guy, provides similar concerns defensively and shooting wise that Giddey did. And that's why I don't think it'll work there. Apparently the Kings are talking to the Wizards in Brooklyn for trading the pick. Yeah, I'm sure they would be. There's no way Bronny goes 17. I don't think so. Edie's way too high. Please ease my mind. I don't like it at all at pick 9. There's a chance that Edie is just so overall dominant that it works out. I think that he's going to be really, really problematic defensively. All right, so the Thunder. This is, obviously we have Minnesota trade up to get pick 8 as a contender. We have got now Oklahoma City at pick 12 being a contender. We'll see what they're going to do. The Bozella stuff. Man, some people hate him. Some people love it. It's so crazy. Just quietly, Mathis Bozella looks a little bit like Nate Duncan. I don't know if you can see that similarity. Edie drafted too low. Remember, Shaq was drafted first. Well, coming from you, Ricardo, that means it's incorrect. So I'm pretty happy with my evaluation then. In terms of fantasy this coming season, are there any real candidates you all think? Dan, no, probably not. Look, no one who I'd be super interested in drafting. Sarr is going to be intriguing. We have to monitor the Portland situation for Klingon. Ricochet, no. Castle, no. Holland, probably not. Edie, probably not, but maybe. Maybe. What I think about the Şengün rumors, have not seen the Şengün rumors, apart from people saying, oh, maybe they're going to trade Şengün. I haven't really put a huge amount of stock into that, to be honest. Okay. We must be getting close to this pick coming out. Nothing yet. Okay. Come on, give us this pick. Back to chat. Nikola Topic's father is a scout for the Magic. Is he? Could he fall there and they draft him? It would, yeah, I guess so. He's probably not the sort of guard that I'd be going after if I was them, because they drafted Mr. Black last year and Fultz is allegedly still around. But like, he fell to 18. I think you just have to take him. How about Dillingham for fantasy this year? No, he's going to come off the bench and play limited minutes. So no, absolutely not. Are you surprised that someone wasn't picked yet? Am I surprised? Let me have a look at the board. Like, I've got guys that I really like that haven't been picked, but I'm not surprised. I'm a little surprised, actually, that Topic hasn't been picked. If people are panicking because he's got a partially torn ACL, like, are you drafting literally for this year only? That's a little strange to me, but I think there are some other factors there as well. Oh, well, there we go. Topic does go at 12. Huh. Okay. All right. So the Thunder, in a situation where they are like trying to win it all, take the guy who might not play. And like it is for Sam Presti nearly all the time, it's about getting value. And I think that, like, honestly, that is pretty good value for Nikola Topic, who people thought was a chance for the number 1 overall pick. And then, you know, people thought for sure would go to the Spurs at 4. So a really, really interesting selection there. Really interesting selection. I can see that my text limit on my little ticker is running out, so I'm going to have to start cutting out some of the earlier picks. But Topic goes to the Thunder. A little bit of a surprise, I think. A little bit of a surprise, just given, I guess, where they are at the moment. But in terms of the talented guy who's on the board, I think that makes sense in that respect. Next up, it is the Sacramento Kings at 13. And they've got some pretty good options here, I think. Yeah, so, but whether they view it that way or not, I'm not really sure. But I think there are some pretty strong options that they can take. Just making some adjustments on my back end here to make sure that everything looks correct. Okay. So, all right. So, who would I take here as the Kings? Well, I would obviously take Carrington or Smith. They're just going to be sitting on my board for a long time. If it wasn't Carrington or Smith, I would look at Collier or Ware would be the guys I would look at in this spot. Probably not Collier, actually, to the Kings. I'm not certain about that one with Malik Monk returning. Maybe the dildo John Furphy. Maybe Devin Carter makes sense as well. But, you know, stuff. Thunder are confident in signing a big, take the value. Yeah, like, I guess Hartenstein is the guy they're confident of. Is Giddy is better than Topic? I can see that, yeah. I'm old enough to remember the Connect top 3 pick hype. Where did that exist? Because that was insane. If anyone was thinking that was happening, we were crazy. Yeah, I guess Connect could replace Barnes, but Connect is extraordinarily limited as a passer. So is Barnes. Defender, Barnes is quite good at that. The shooting it should be strong, but also no guarantee that it is. I can see the Kings doing that, though. That is a real possibility. The Kings go with Dalton Connect here. Okay. So we're up to the Kings. We're almost out of the lottery. And then it's Washington at 14. Which that then becomes an interesting spot, because the Wizards are bad. So could someone fall there that finds themselves in a good position? Because they've got Poole, Bilal, Sarr, Kuzma, Brogdon maybe for now. Kispert, who's very much not good. I like the value play of the Thunder though, even if Topic won't play this season really at all. They don't need him to. All right. Waiting for this next pick at 13 for Sacramento. I think this is probably the connect spot, honestly. As much as I don't like it, I think it probably is. Topic is going to be a very interesting dynasty guy because A, he's probably not going to play. B, it's a pretty stacked team. And it's going to take a lot of time to get there, but it'll pay off down the track. I think. Okay, waiting on the next one. Zach Edey to the Lakers? It doesn't appear so. Ben, are you a little bit behind the times here? Zach Edey's been picked already, my guy. Who do I think is the most NBA ready in this year's draft? AC, that's just it's such a thing that gets overvalued and over talked about. It's probably whoever the best player is in this draft. So it's probably Alex Sarr, honestly. But I don't really see many of those guys. Old does not mean NBA ready. Actually, that's not true. It's probably someone like Devin Carter. Is Trenton Flowers or Clintman likely to get drafted? Not today, but I think both go in the second round. But maybe. Keep saying Edey to the Lakers. It's not going to happen. What are we talking about here? Just jump onto YouTube chats to say things that are blatantly false? Or you just haven't caught up and seen the news? Devin Carter goes at 13. Ooh, to Sacramento. Okay, that's interesting. I think in one of the mocks I did have him there. He's a little short. He's got one season of good shooting. I hope that they're not repeating the Davion Mitchell problem. He's taller than Davion Mitchell, though, so maybe we're okay in that respect. But the 1 year shooting breakout that convinces them that he can shoot, I hope that's not what's happening here. But we'll never know. So Devin Carter goes 13 to the Sacramento Kings. Carter, really, really good rebound rate, really good steal rate. The shooting did improve, but you're not fully convinced that that's it. He's like a 6'3" combo guard who can play with Fox, who can play with Monk. It really does hurt any breakout you might have thought that Keon Ellis was in for, I think. I just don't think that's going to be... I don't know they're going to prioritize Keon Ellis necessarily. It's a pretty solid pick here. He is a little bit older, so the Kings do... had not have a problem with that, obviously, but really interesting to see that Dalton Connect is still on the board. Not that I think that that's wrong. I think it's the right call for Dalton Connect to still be on the board, but just mentioning it. All right. So Devin Carter at 13. His dad played in the NBA, Anthony Carter. Josh, would you wear apparel on the podcast if a DB squad member sent it to you? What kind of apparel do you mean, Kevin? Maybe. Yeah, Claxton re-signed with the Nets. Yeah, I agree, Martin, that Devin Carter was the most NBA-ready player there. I think that his rebounding skills, his defensive ability translates straight across. Whether he becomes a very good player or not, I don't know. Yeah, Claxton re-signed today. I think Sarr gets 25 plus as a rookie. Yeah, I think so. Yep. Dillingham got traded to Minnesota. Yes, that is what happened. All right, let's bring the little ticker across here. as we wait for pick 14, which is now Washington. Was Portland, now Washington. Was Golden State, then Portland, now Washington. So what do we do here, Washington? This is very, Devin Carter, I see someone else tweeting about that they've, did the same thing with Davion Mitchell. I think I hated Davion Mitchell in his draft class. I think Carter is better, but again, he's also an older guard who we have some worries about the shot. Not that he's going to be bad, but just some worries. Most fantasy relevant, it depends on what happens with Portland and Klingon, but it's probably going to be Sarah, I would guess. It's really early, though, to say that. Do I think any... AC, none. Do not take any of these rookies in the first, second, or third. Is it first round pick? Jesus Christ. Absolutely not. None of them should be taken inside the top 75, is my guess. Even that might be too high. Josh, you need bifocals. Why? All right. What else is going on here? Edie. Yeah, some people really like the Edie pick. I don't know. We'll see. We will see. I think that Edie has a strong role as a backup center who they will definitely try as a starter. I don't think it's going to work out necessarily. Yeah, I'm so down on the overall value of this class that there's nothing that's going to really excite me about most of these picks. That was the alleged pick that the Kings offered for Alex Caruso. So would you rather have Josh Giddey or Devin Carter in that position, or anyone else that's still on the board? Would I have rather Bub Carrington than Josh Giddey? Maybe. Carrington, the best player still available for me. So then Tyler Smith, then Collier, Ware, Furphy, McCain, Filipowski. That's my next group of guys. All right, just going to make... So it's, Washington is having this pick now. This is the trade they got, or the pick they got in the Deni Avdija deal. Bub Carrington, let's actually go. Yeah, here we go. All right. They took Bub Carrington and Alex Sarr. Actually, let's go. All right, so they are two of my top 5 players. I am beyond fired up about that. I'm not. Wizards have been a horrendous franchise for years and years and years. This is a massive W. Carrington will probably be the guy that is be really careful about drafting rookie point guards. But there's a chance he starts immediately. There's Poole and there's Bilal, but they can play the 2 and the 3. Carrington can play off ball. I'm pumped. This is so good, I think, for Washington. I love it. I absolutely love this. Trading Deni Avdija and getting back Bub Carrington are way higher star upside for Carrington for me. Way higher. Oh, yeah. That, finally, some good stuff. There you go. Bubba Carrington. Big bubbles. I don't know why it's called Bub. It's funny, but don't know why it's called that. I'm going to start removing some guys off the front of the ticker here so things fit in. Yeah, love that. Chat, I'm just making some edits here. I really need to see chat's reaction to this. Because that one actually got me up. Wow, that is exciting stuff. Finally get excited. Let's go. Yeah, Jones is definitely gone, I would say. His name is Carlton Carrington. It'd be cool if you did a season where you're repping shirts from the... Kevin, like I put out calls multiple times for people if they had apparel brands or anything like that. I'm always looking for people to send stuff through. So yeah, I am interested in that. Looking forward to Jokic versus Edie in the Western Conference. Are you, Martin? Because that could be pretty disgusting. Wait a second. You mean... So Carrington's dad's nickname is also Bub, so he's Bub Jr.? W. Even a bigger W. Where did I have Bub on my board? 5th. I moved him up this morning. That's where I settled on it. Troy Weaver joined the Wizards and just tried to be awesome. Yeah, but thankfully he's not in a position of power. So that's good. Yeah. Like, who knows whether these guys are good or not, but I love them taking Saran. I love them taking Carrington. So, yeah, I'm really looking positively on what the Wizards are able to do based on the way that I evaluated these players. So I'm really excited about what that ended up being, but it might not be good. There's a huge possibility of that as well. It just might not work out whatsoever. But stuff does at times happen. But I just literally just said that he's the top of my board. I don't expect these guys to go here, and then it happened. Well, sometimes. Maybe good. Bub Jr. is BJW. He's not Bub Jr., he's Carrington Jr. Annabelle, like our post, you know that you're wrong, and I appreciate you deliberately being wrong to try and get a reaction out of me, because you win. The Deni deal makes more sense now. Yeah, look, again, like I said with Deni, they obviously didn't think that Deni was a breakout star, and they got offered 2 firsts and 2 seconds for him, and fine. Good. Did the Raptors draft yet? No, they have not drafted yet. Where they're at number 19, and we are not there. We're only at 4. We just had 14 was the Wizards. We're up to 15 now, which is the Miami Heat. Now, this is where we get... What do the Heat do? Heat culture time? They need guards and they need power forwards. So Isaiah Collier makes a lot of sense. I, again, would take Tyler Smith. Furphy would be interesting here. Jared McCain would be pretty interesting as well. Do they take Dalton Connect? And then if Miami takes Dalton Connect, every single comment is, oh my God, you let them do it again. This is this year's Jaime Jaquez. Oh yeah, an older, overrated role player. Cool. We'll see. Every one of these picks, like not everyone, like the Kings have had serious discussions around a trade around this pick, but they've decided to go with this guy. Yeah, okay. It's just so hard to make trades in drafts. Like, just get ready for the Dalton Connect, Jaime Jaquez comparisons if that is what Miami does. Do you think they will do this? Huh. Okay, come on. Let's give us this pick. This is really interesting, Miami's pick. A lot of fluffing of Devin Carter at the moment. Tons of it. Tons of fluffing. Jared McCain, according to Jake Fisher. Well, he fits a need. Shooting and a point guard. Let's see. Shooting and a point guard. Jared McCain. At 15 to Miami. Also, if this is what Fisher's tweeting, if this is what happens, remember that don't get sucked into the idea that Miami takes heat culture guys and they love older players. It's not true. It's a lie that is told and people fall for it every time. It's not true. It's just, again, let me say it again. It's not true. Maybe they don't take McCain, who's, again, marginally older for a freshman, but he's like just turned 20, but he's a shooting sort of player. Again, I'm still waiting for official confirmation on this. But that is what Fisher is saying. So let's wait. Let's wait a little bit on that. Best remaining shooter is Jared McCain, who probably just went to Miami. What do I think the Lakers should be hoping for? I would be looking at Kal El-Ware or Kyle Filipowski, I think. Oh, no, actually, Tyler Smith was who I would take, obviously. But I think they need... They probably... It depends what happens with D'Angelo Russell, doesn't it? They probably need some sort of forward wing play. They're in a little bit of a weird spot. Yeah, McCain is not a good defender. That is true. That is a problem with him, and he's a little short. He's not particularly big. No, here we go. Miami is taking Superman. So, a change-up. It is not Jared McCain. That's why we held off on that. Kal El-Ware, which I actually really like. I had Superman at 12. And here he goes to Miami at 15. If you want to talk about the guy that you never would have said was Heat culture based on some of the stuff from him, this is it. Remember, that idea is a complete fabrication. It's a fabrication that people fall for all the time. There you go. Very, very interesting. Kal El-Ware, incredibly athletic, big man. Obviously, Bam Adebayo's there. Can they play together? Yeah, I think maybe. I don't think we'd be looking at that as a starting combination at all. But their backup center position was pretty rough with Thomas Bryant. They were playing Jovic there. Where I think can develop into a pretty strong long-term starting center. It's not the best spot for him. It's pretty good for Miami to be able to get him at that spot. Yeah. All right. Wild switch up there. So Kal El-Ware played his freshman year at Oregon. Struggled. He was a top 5 guy coming in. Went to Indiana. He's huge. Unbelievably fast. Unbelievably athletic. Massive jumper. Can block shots. Can dribble a bit. Can shoot a bit. I think there is clear top 10 upside in what Kal-El does. And yeah, I'm just very, very interested to see. Very interested to see how Miami utilizes him here. Very interested. I don't like where my head is positioned on that screen. I'll change that later. There you go. Philadelphia got this next pick. Poor man, that is... I wonder if they do, because their power forwards are terrible. They've been playing like Hayward Highsmith and Caleb Martin. They played Jovic there a bit, who's fine. He's fine, but would they actually start to go big and go Ware and Bam? It's possible. It's possible. All right, 16 now. Philadelphia. Is this where Dalton... By the way, also, don't get sucked into thinking that the comparison that Dalton Connect is the same as a Cam Whitmore slide. It's not the same at all. All right. Pick 16 is Philadelphia. I am going to be pretty shocked if they end up holding on to this pick, but no noise at all happening here. So maybe they do. But we haven't really heard anything at all about it being moved. I just don't really think it doesn't make sense for Philadelphia to hold on to this given their cap space aspirations. But also maybe it's a nice little cost-controlled player that they could bring in. Maybe. Where are you guys at with the latest picks? Yeah, Jim, I need to break out of that habit. Yeah, he does pronounce his name Khalil. He's wrong, but he pronounces it Khalil. It's Khalil. But, yeah. We know this draft class will be good, but do you think it'll be better than 2018's class? Michael, you feeling all right? Head injury? We good? Why is he called Superman? Because Kal-El is Superman's official name. His Kryptonian name. All right. Philadelphia, I mocked McCain to them last time out. I don't... Jake Fisher, wow. Yeah, McCain... And McCain is the guy that I mocked to Philadelphia. Shooting, guard... Well, who knows what they do with Kyle Lowry, D'Anthony Melton, those sort of guys. Still don't love that they that he calls himself Khalil. He's wrong very clearly. I think yeah. All right. Let's see what the Sixers do. So the best guy left on my board still remains Tyler Smith, followed by Isaiah Collier and John Furphy and Jared McCain. They're my best four. Then Filipowski. Best five guys available. For me, anyway. Understanding that I'm way higher on Tyler Smith than anybody else. The Heat does it again. I like where it's upside. Like, we need to stop Dutch riding the Heat. They're as good or as bad as every other team. Where's a good pick? Sure, but like, they don't hit all the time. They miss often. Over under 2 All-Star selections from this class. 2 over the course of their career. Do you mean 2 overall All-Star games or 2 players that make the All-Star? If I said 2 All-Star games, I'd say over. If I said 2 players, I'd say sitting at 2 is not. I'd say it's 2, honestly. So we'll push on that. Does Jabari Smith go 1 in this year's class? I would have Sarr ahead of Smith. I didn't love Smith coming out of college, to be fair. I had him a very clear number 3 in that draft. Josh, tell people to hit like. Hey, hit like. Emmanuel says hit like. I'm not here to argue with Emmanuel. Okay. Have we got anything more? A lot of these guys that we pick at this spot or the teams pick at this spot, they're backups. But they're not going to be anything more than backups. You hope that they can become more, but that's what they are. And if Khalil Ware turns into a 7-year backup, huge W at this point. Huge W. Pick 16, Philadelphia. No word on a trade, so I just did not think that this would stick. I didn't think they'd hold on to this pick, but that's where we're at. And I really... Yeah. McCain is an obvious one to me. I would not take Connect, but I could see that he would go here. I think there's a possibility of that. Daryl Morey has not been a big draft guy usually. He's more of a trader than a draft guy. So that's possible. Smith would work, I think, next to Embiid quite well. But this team is just so in flux. Like, who the hell knows what happens? There's so many missing parts and pieces. My head went that way. My legs went that way. Really, yeah. I realized I didn't even tweet out. Oh, I did tweet it out. Should I do it again? Let's do it now. Join me live, guys. All right. No. Trying to see if there was an update here. Absolutely not. Nothing yet. Still waiting on it. What is Brogdon doing for the Wizards? Do I think we can get a first rounder for him? Maybe a back end first rounder. Not really sure he plays there, but we also didn't know whether he'd play in Portland. There's a role there. If Tyus Jones is not there, you're going to have Poole, Carrington, and Brogdon as a steadying source of control. He'd be a massive shutdown guy. He'd be an interesting later round fantasy player who'd return early value and then get hurt or get traded or get shut down. Correct, Sean. The big thing with the Heat was the amount of undrafted guys on their team. So if anything that shows they're not great in the draft, 100% agree. Their development system through their G League was absolutely gigantic. Like that is where a lot of the stuff came from. Duncan Robinson, Max Strus, two real clear names that pop out there. But yeah, they're not this like unbelievable drafting team. Will Holland start for the Pistons? I'd be pretty surprised at this point. Like, you've got, well, it's going to depend. We don't know who their coach is, but Ivy, Cade, Asar, there's Stewart, there's Duran. What happens in free agency? Do they bring Tobias Harris in? I don't know. I'd be pretty surprised. Lucas, I'm glad that at least one person caught it, mate. It's not going to be for everyone, is it? Jared McCain is going at 16. This is the one that, in my mock yesterday, I said I would pick McCain at 16. I predicted that Jared McCain would go at 16. So it was one of the only, I think it was the only one that I actually said that I had the same pick as what I thought would happen. And then it's the only one that actually happens that way as well. So W. Well, it could only be the one that would do that because I didn't have another one that was the same across both. McCain, really good shooter. Embiid helps defensively to cover up some of the problems. Young guard from Duke. Not sure what this means for like where Kyle Lowry sits or anything along those lines. McCain is not going to be fantasy relevant this season at all, I wouldn't think. This doesn't mean that Tyrese Maxey's not returning or anything like that. It could mean some iffier things for a D'Anthony Melton, for sure. That could be a problem. McCain is 6'2". He's a little bit on the short side, but there's an argument that he could be the best or second best shooter in this class. There's Reed Shepherd, there's Rob Dillingham, there's him, there's Connect. They're probably in that group of the best shooters overall. Size is an issue, as there's always something with so many of these players having, doubts or big downsides to them. That's the nature of this sort of a draft class. And we're at a situation where that would have been really hard to pass up on, I think, getting Jared McCain there. It's also a massive W because he triggers a lot of people by wearing nail polish, which is just a huge W to me to trigger those guys. I love it. All right, that's 16 done. Now it is the Lakers. Do you actually think, does anybody here in chat actually think that they are going to take Bronny? I don't think there's any way that they take Bronny. Do you legitimately think that they will take Bronny James at this spot? No. Surely not. But we've been surprised before. Who would I be looking for here as the Lakers? Well, I'm going to look at that in a second as we just sit and wait on selections. Did I change that one over? I did. All right, so let's look at my board. Yeah, Tyler Smith, obviously. Collier, maybe. Furphy would make a little bit of sense. Now, actually, and I really like Filipowski here. Like, if it's not going to be Tyler Smith, I really like Kyle Filipowski here. They could take a Dalton Connect. I'm not super confident in the Lakers' drafting abilities. All right. That's really, yeah. Jared McCain seems like an absolute W for Philadelphia. That one seemed somewhat obvious, even though there were a couple of guys I had ahead of him still there. This is where things do get really weird, though, at 17. Well, they've been weird all the way through, haven't they? Let's be fair. Hasn't been smooth sailing. Of course, Josh loves a guy that wears nail polish. What is that supposed to mean? Have I ever been approached for a bigger company for work? Yeah. I have. Like ESPN interviewed me and they went a different direction for their head fantasy guy. But I don't actually... Locked On is a huge company. It's a very big company. So I don't even think there'd be any need for me to move anywhere, to be honest. Best available for me is Tyler Smith, Isaiah Collier, John Furphy, Kyle Filipowski. They're my best available. And then we go to Tyson, Connect, Holmes, and Messi. My next grouping of guys. Okay. We're at the Baylor Big, yeah? Eve Missy. I don't mind him here. I think Filipowski can do more. He's a good rim protector, a good passer, can shoot a bit. I think he would make a lot more sense, but yeah. And I would have Dayron Holmes ahead of Missy as well. There's a Duke connection for JJ and Filipowski. How much do you reckon that still matters though? How long ago was Redick at Duke? It is a long time ago. I'm not really sure that matters that much. Maybe it is. Will Morey get desperate and give Paul George a 4-year max? I don't think that's getting desperate, to be honest. That would be a perfect outcome for Philadelphia. I don't think that's getting desperate. Lol, anabolic. Would AD and Smith play together, or is he a backup big? I think Tyler Smith's best position will be at the 4. He would be a backup immediately because I think you want LeBron playing more of the 4 next to Davis. But I think overall, yes, he could play next to him. Something's got to be up with Connect. He must be a D-bag. No, Dalton Connect is a 23-year-old who started really playing well as a 23-year-old against 18-year-olds who struggles defensively, struggles with his passing, and he's really just a shooter. I was well down on him all the way through this. This does not surprise me. I was being well down on him all the way through, so it does not surprise me. So here he goes. Dalton Connect does go at 17 to the Lakers. All right. The shooting will be... People are going to froth this one a lot. The shooting is going to be pretty strong playing off of LeBron. He'll be able to set him up. I think his defense is going to be a significant problem. But if they played Taurean Prince and they played Rui Hachimura, then I'm not sure that it's that bad of a pick, to be honest. I still would have other guys over him. But here we go. Dalton Connect at number 17 to the Lakers. No Bronny. Connect falls further than most people thought. Cool. He, again, I absolutely no interest in drafting him in fantasy. Maybe he's a starter. Maybe not. Probably not, to be honest. And he's not really doing much more than shooting and scoring, and he's never touching the usage that he had on a team with Reeves, Russell, Davis, and James. Never. Not getting anywhere close to it. Well, assuming D'Angelo's back, but maybe he's not. But that's where we're at with that. So Dalton Connect, he's only 6'5" without shoes. He's a really good shooter. But outside of that, I'm not really sure what else he's going to do. He had a weird path to the NBA and a weird path through college. He's a late bloomer. But if he was 6'8", I'd be way more interested. But he's not. He's 6'5", so he's undersized. He's the same size as Austin Reeves, basically, but can do way less. I'm not a big fan. I get it. The spot up shooting here will be solid for the Lakers. I think there is a real a value part of that can make sense, but that is real role playery sort of stuff, and we can't be interested in that, at least for fantasy this year. No way. Not trying it at all. Okay. There you go. Dalton Connect, Tennessee, good shooter, heads to the Lakers. People will be giving the Lakers A+ grades in the draft for getting the guy that falls. I can assure you of that. I don't agree, and that's okay. I think they did totally fine to get him here. See this tweet from Dean Oliver. It says, I do think about how well we can predict NBA three-point shooting. It's a very noisy stat. Very true. There are guys like Nick Stauskas, off the top of my head, who shot it great in college and then struggled. Absolutely true. Absolutely true. So now we go to Orlando at 18. I wouldn't have minded connected 18 to Orlando just because they do need some shooting. But again, it is the age of Connect it's an issue for sure. He's a year and a half older than Josh Giddey. I think he's the same age as Anthony Edwards. But yeah, there are people getting super excited about it, but I am just, yeah. And that's why this draft is weird. There are wild differences in opinion. Wild. Right across the entirety of the draft. Those of you in chat, hit thumbs up. Should I do a live on this tomorrow for the second round. I'm not going to have all of the like individual graphics going across the screen. Probably just more of the ticker, but that's about it. Who's a better shooter coming out of college, Kispert or Connect? I'm pretty sure it was Kispert, but I don't know off the top of my head. What are the thoughts on the OG and Anunoby deal? Had to do it. They had to do it. It is high for, again, paying that much for a non-all-star player, but you had to do it. They're going all in. Got to do it. Dalton is a top 3 draft pick. It actually looks like he's a top 17 draft pick. So there you go. Martin, you had Jalen Green ahead of Evan Mobley. So, like, what do you want to say there? Where are we at with this next pick? It is Orlando. They would love shooting. I just don't really know. Don't know where they're going to get it here. Like, I don't think they're taking Tyler Smith, and I don't think he fits here, honestly. As much as I like him as a shooter, I don't think he fits. Isaiah Collier, I don't think he makes a lot of sense. Johnny Furphy actually is a W fit here. I think he would make massive amounts of sense. I think Jalen Tyson makes a little bit of sense. I think Trey Alexander makes some sense. I worry that if they take Jacoby Walter, who I just don't really like very much at all. Yeah, it's not I don't really love this. Oh, they're taking Tristan Da Silva. Oh, no. Oh, no. No. I don't like that one. No. Tristan Da Silva, a do-nothing 23-year-old wing. Even more of a do-nothing than Dalton Connect. Yeah. I did not... that's not good. I don't like that at all. Oh, well. I don't think I even created a first-round pick graphic for him. I did not. Oh, well, there you go. There's the first one. Didn't create the graphic for him. Tristan Da Silva. One of the many players who played for Colorado who are probably going to get picked in this draft. Yeah, that's a bit surprising. He plays like the same position as Franz Wagner. Ideally, he plays the same position as Paolo Banchero. Looking for a backup there. I don't know. I can't get behind the argument that it's best player available either. I just don't. Yeah, I'm not. No, not for me. I had him in the second round. So now we go to pick 19, which is the Raptors. Here we go. My team, the Toronto Raptors. People get so angry at my Canada jokes. It's so funny. Hey, I didn't mean to put that up there. Sorry, my bad. That was incorrect. Production error. Yeah, people get so mad at the jokes. It's actually pretty humorous at this point. So I'm just going to keep doing it. Okay. So what do we think that Toronto does here? This is where things get tougher. They won't take Collier. I don't think they'll take Furphy. Filipowski's a bit Kelly Olynyk, and they've got Kelly Olynyk and Jakob Poeltl. There's Barnes and Barrett and Quickly there. They probably need a 2. Are they going to take Jacoby Walter? He doesn't seem like a Masai Ujiri player. Do they take Jalen Tyson? Maybe. Furphy and Smith, guys that I'm higher on the majority. I'm still going to have them top of my board. They're not there. I don't think it's going to happen in this pick, but you never know. People love Da Silva shooting. Yeah, I think he's an okay shooter. I don't think he's a very good shooter. I think he's an okay shooter. I did, Duncan. I talked about the Deni trade right at the start of the show. I think Deni is not going to be a top 100 guy. Deni really needs an opportunity to have the ball in his hand, and that's just not going to happen in Portland. It opens up a lot in Washington, but both teams are still a lot in flux as well. Where do I have Dayron Holmes? I had him at I think 21 going to the Pelicans. A A funny outcome would be Bronny falling out of the... Bronny's definitely falling out of the first round. That's just the expected. No, Minnesota, didn't give up 27 in the Dillingham deal, so they've still got pick 27. Let's see what Toronto does here. This is the Pacers pick that moved in the Siakam deal. I think the Suns should look at a center. I think they should look at Holmes or Messi if they're available. I loved the Bub pick, Van Negro Jones. Loved it. Fantastic. I had him top 5. I loved it. What was the last game you went to? Lewis, I've never been to an NBA game. I work here in Australia when the NBA regular season is on. I've never been to an NBA game. Been to Summer League, but that's it. Who's better, Anthony Black or Bronny James? Mr. Black. As much as I don't love Anthony Black as a prospect, he's better than the Bronny. How do I feel about Shyman to the Bucks? I don't mind. Shyman is a little older, obviously. I think he might actually be better than Connect because he can do stuff passing and dribbling. But I think 23 is a little too high. Yeah, this is Krishna Nasu from Basketball Index says, yeah, Connect is a career 77% free throw shooter and 38% from 3 in college. Is he actually a great shooter? Usually great shooters are going to be above 80% from the line in college. Yeah, absolutely. Pick 19 coming. Raps will go for Eve. Yeah, I could see Eve Missy, but again, like third string center. I know that Olynyk's getting up there in age, but they just re-signed him. They just signed Pirtle. Is that what you're doing? You're looking at a third string center here? I guess you think Olynyk's playing the 4, but I'm not sure that's going to be the case. Yeah, I really don't know. Let's just pump these picks out, mate. Do you think LeBron playing with his son actually ends up happening? Too much fails. I do, but I actually don't care. Like, if it happens, great, but it doesn't matter. Did I have Baylor Shyman in my first round? No, I think I had him at 30. Let's have a look. I had him at 32, 34, but on my big board, I did move him to 29 in the end. So, the Raptors are taking Jacoby Walter. Jacoby Walter, inefficient, bad shot selection guard from Baylor. The size is interesting. The role is interesting. He basically is what's interesting here is basically Gary Trent. He will take threes. They didn't go in, but he will take them. It's an interesting pick. I'm not going to hate it at that spot, but he's just not someone that I think I don't think he's an awesome selection there. I think he's okay. Very interesting. So let's bring up his details. He's a 6'4" guard. He can score. I honestly don't know what else he does. I likened him at times through the draft process to Lonnie Walker, and that is not a compliment. If the shot isn't falling, I'm not really sure what else he's doing, and the shot didn't fall in college. He's going to be pretty I say Gary Trent, but they've got Dick there. So where does that? And Dick is, I think, going to be a superior shooter to him. So yeah, it is a little. It's a pick that I'm not going to give you completely against it, but yeah, I had him at 27. on my board there. So let's see where we go with this. What do I think of Buzalis? I don't mind Buzalis there. I worry that he feeds into the whole team not being able to shoot. I don't think he can do that. I think he might be somewhat overrated, Buzalis. I think the weak side rim protection is interesting, considering Vooch can't do anything. I think he's got a real shot to start immediately, and maybe he's a late round fantasy guy. I'm not 100% against that one. I think it's okay, that selection of Buzalis at 11 to the Chicago Bulls. Now we are Cleveland, getting ready for pick number 20. Cleveland, I think they need forwards. My neck starts to tighten up. That's not good. I think we need forwards in Cleveland. We were relying a lot on Max Strus playing up and Dean Wade playing the 3. Not that a guy at number 20 is necessarily going to be a huge option there, but I think we do need some forwards. These guys aren't going to be looked at as starters with Mobley and Allen there, clearly. But I think that's the sort of area they need to look at. No real whispers on this one at this point. What do you guys think is going to happen here as I just jump into chat? I'm going to adjust myself here. Can I believe the Hawks went with Ricochet? Absolutely no, I cannot. I admit, not that I can't believe it. It seemed like that's what they were going to do, but it's still baffling to me. Do I think any remaining centers are playable for the Knicks if they lose Hartenstein? You mean in the draft year at 24-25? I think Missy or Holmes, if they pick them there, would be okay to be a backup immediately. Jacoby is a pure hooper. Well, there you go. That's we got our analysis. A pure hooper, meaning that he's a chucker and a bad player. There you go. W. Let's see. Okay. John Furphy would be great here, I think, for Cleveland. Would look really good. They need some size as well. Garland and Mitchell are obviously pretty small. They're weird because they've got the really small guards, the really big front court, and then 6'4" Max Strus at small forward. I don't know about Collier here. I joined late. What did you think of the Heat pick and where? I liked it. I think I had Khalil going at 12. Well, that's where I had him anyway, so I like that pick. Do prospects who are drafted for their defense ever actually evolve an offensive game? The obvious one that people will give you is Kawhi, but Kawhi was a pretty strong scorer in college. He just couldn't shoot. So I'm sure there's going to be an example of that, but not one that I can really think of. Okay. Dear everyone, don't forget Dwop Wreath. Okay, sure. Great. Whatever that means, Henry Abbott. The 4th string center for the Blazers. I'll keep him in mind. Cleveland has Jalen Tyson at the top of their board. That is a W. I have Tyson about this spot as well. So Woj is telling me that. I fully believe that when Woj tells us something like that, that is what is going to happen. So Jalen Tyson from Cal looks like he's heading to Cleveland. There we go. Pick 20, Jalen Tyson, W. I like it. I had Tyson at 20 exactly on my board. Oh, there you go. Well, there's obviously a couple of guys ahead of him who haven't been picked, but I think he's an interesting sort of do-it-all guard who did it all for Cal. I would have preferred him over a Jacoby Walter that just got picked. But this does make, I really like this one for the Cavs. He's not going to do a huge amount straight off. But as a interesting guard who carries such a large responsibility for Cal, this fitting in here and just being more of a role player, I think makes it easier for him, obviously, and a lot better overall. So I do like that one quite a bit. So now we go to the Pelicans, who do have a choice of 2 centers here. I would think that they should be looking at Daron Holmes. If they look at Messi, I don't like Messi fitting with Zion. It makes no sense to me to have a guy that's got even less of a shooting or stretching ability than Valanciunas. Holmes, on the other hand, I would love. I would love if Daron Holmes is able to slide in here and get picked by the Pelicans. Actually, that's not true. Tyler Smith also would be a good option. Collier, maybe. The talent play there is really strong. Furphy, yeah, look, maybe, but I'm not really sure about where that one fits exactly. Filipowski, actually, I think would work pretty well. I wish he was a little bit, had a longer wingspan, but he's been a really good rim protector through college as well. So I think that the Pelicans are actually in a spot here where they've got a lot of different options, which I think makes sense. Whether they get those guys at those spots remains to be seen, or whether they go a different direction, I don't know. They're taking Eve Missy. You have actually got to be joking. Eve Missy, I like Eve Missy's ability to defend, but he cannot shoot. At all. That is a pick that doesn't... what? Again, there were so many other centers you could have picked there that would have made way more sense. Missy, I like it. Really good athletic rim protector. But what? Seriously? Eve Missy to the Pelicans. It makes it sound like I don't like Eve Missy. I do. But also, why? Yeah, that's crazy to me. Now, I don't know what they do with Valanciunas here. Missy might... could he be an opening night starter? Yeah, he could. And his combination of rebounds, blocks, and field goal percentage, if he played 25 minutes, would probably have a category league value. Not even remotely close in a points league. But how the hell does he play alongside Zion when they both need to be at the rim? That's a real problem. They do have a need at centre, Shams. You're right. Just not this one. Okay. That's one that, yeah. Chat. Thoughts. Give it to me. Josh, I don't want to just give you... You said, who are your top 3 dynasty rookie picks based on the draft? I don't want to just give stuff off the top of my head right at this point, because I need to sit down and look at it. But Sarah's been number 1 the whole way through. Literally nothing changes there with that. I had Reed Shepherd and Ron Holland at 2 and 3. They both went in the top 5. Can't really see why that would change either. So that's how I would do it. Will a big fall to the Knicks? Yeah. Well, you got the Suns and Bucks up next, and they both could take a center. So I think that is looking a little iffy. I'm not hating on Baylor at all, Hoops fan. I really like Eve Missy. He's a terrible fit with Zion. Jacoby Walter, yeah, don't like him as a player. Nothing to do with Baylor at all. I really like Eve Missy. I just think it makes no sense with Zion Williamson. I don't understand when you had other center options there that you've done that one. I don't get that at all. Now it's Phoenix. I think that they should be looking at a center. There's been a lot of whispers that they want to grab a point guard here. So, is that what they end up doing? If so, Isaiah Collier, absolute W pick. Actually, that's Tyler Smith, maybe, but I probably wouldn't go that direction for them as much as I like Tyler. I think that, and I've got Smith and Collier in the same tier. So, yeah, I'd be looking at Collier here. Yeah, I'd look at Collier here, I think. Let's see what direction they go. What happens to Bruce Brown? I think he's going to get traded. In case Zion gets injured, yeah, but they don't play the same position. That's... Would it be a surprise to see Bronny go undrafted? Yeah, I think so. Phoenix should have got a Missy. Well, they didn't have a choice, did they? They couldn't do it. He would fit really well on Phoenix, I agree with you, but they didn't have an opportunity to get him. Impossible for them to do that without trading, and they're obviously have some apron concerns in terms of what they're able to trade or not. So, we're going at 22 here. Bill Simmons is mad that the Lakers got connect. That's how you know where that pick sits. Missy should have been top 5. Nope, don't think so. It'd be Furphy or Filipowski. Well, yeah, Filipowski is an interesting one. So Filipowski and Holmes are both still available. So those guys would be... Filipowski would be a very interesting Hartenstein replacement for the Knicks. Got Phoenix, then Milwaukee. What's this Woj tweet? Kenny Atkinson's agreed on a 5-year deal. Like, didn't we already know that he was signing there? Why do I need that? I don't need that information. What's that? Pelicans should trade Zion. Why? Bronny James has to go soon. Hooping is in his DNA. The pure hoopers, Martin, would tell you that LeBron is not that. There's not a pure hooper. Also, Bronny's not going in the first round, I'm pretty sure. Although, honestly, there is a chance that the Suns take him at 22, so I won't rule that out. I saw a rumor of Portis for Wiggins. Rumors are garbage. Just don't read them, man. Like, they're not real. This stuff is just not real. Nearly all the time. Like, it's just not real. Don't get worked up about it. What are my thoughts on Atkinson as the coach? I thought he was shafted in Brooklyn. Honestly, I thought he coached really well. I think it's a pretty good move for them to get him, honestly. Yeah, really, I like that. I like that choice. Now, Detroit needs to make a pick at some point. What are the options for Dallas? Well, Dallas don't have a pick until 58. So I haven't really done an in-depth dive into their free agency plans or anything. Dunn in Milwaukee is nice too. A, Doc Rivers doesn't play his rookies. B, Dunn might be the worst offensive player I've ever looked at in a draft situation. He could be the worst offensive player I've ever seen. Trade happened for Brogdon. What do you mean? Another trade? No trade. No. Don't know what that means. Is Doc Rivers going to survive as a Bucks coach? I'd be pretty shocked if he didn't. Almost, yeah. Like, yes. Let me just take yes. Survive for this season? 100% yes. Minnesota needs to trade up for Filipowski. Why would they need Filipowski? They've got Reed, Towns, and Gobert. They do not need Filipowski at all. Absolutely the furthest thing from what they need, I think. I'm reading this tweet here from Rich Kleiman, KD's agent. If ESPN says the Suns, or manager, I don't know which one. If ESPN says the Suns don't want KD and then the owner says it's complete bullshit, I wonder where the accountability is. From Ishbia or from ESPN? I wonder. He means ESPN, obviously, but yeah, we'll see. Okay, Phoenix 22. Collier makes the most sense to me. So Collier, Furphy, Smith, Filipowski, Holmes are my top guys left. Okay. Rob Pelinka said that Dalton Connect was unanimously ranked inside the top 10 of the draft board for the team scouts. Okay, cool. All right. Let's get some movement here, guys. Let's get back to the chat and see what's going on. Deni has been traded. Yes. Yep. That happened 3 hours ago. Iggy, that is true. Better prospect 3 years from now. Elia Arenas or Bronny? I don't know. Is that Elia Arenas? Because I know he's got a son and a daughter that are both coming through. I don't know who Elia is. Is it Elijah? It's probably Elijah then. Yeah, wow. The amount of people who are in here who haven't seen what's happening. Yeah, Deni got traded to Portland. Where does Keyshawn fall for me? Outside of the first round. Phoenix is trading 22 to Denver, which takes Dayron Holmes. W. Great backup. Let's get rid of this DeAndre Jordan nonsense. Love it. Don't know what's going back in the deal. I don't know why Phoenix just wouldn't. Phoenix hates the draft. Like, I've never seen a team just hate drafting as much as any team. Like, it's actually crazy how much they just hate a draft pick. Yet their best player they picked in the draft. Best player? Kevin Durant, Booker, whatever. Either one. They hate it. That is crazy to me. Holmes would have been really good for them. That is a smart move, I think, from Calvin Booth to get Dayron Holmes to back up Jokic. Obviously, there's no real fantasy value here for Holmes as the backup to Jokic. But still, like, that is a pretty strong W pick. Let's just see what it cost them to move up to get it. Nuggets send 28, 56, and 2 future seconds. So 3 seconds and pick 28. You know what? I don't mind that for Phoenix then getting those 3 seconds. Not that they're going to do much, but still. They just hate the draft, man. All right, so Denver chooses Dayron Holmes, the second. And Phoenix goes back to 28. Isaiah Collier, Tyler Smith still being there is an opportunity for other teams. Again, we can all look at all of this stuff. Oh, it's Milwaukee now. Okay. Just a very weird draft. As it was always going to be. Always going to be. All right. Dayron Holmes, 6'9", center, big usage guy in college. He's not going to do that in Denver, obviously, but maybe in the bench role there's something there. He can defend okay. He can pass okay. He can shoot. I think he can do a little bit of off the dribble stuff. He's a little undersized. I really like this pick. I still think Filipowski probably should be ahead of him. But let's see. Maybe the Bucks take Filipowski. Brook Lopez backup. That's possible too. That is possible. All right. Let's get ready for the next selection, which is Milwaukee at 23. I had Eve Missy at this spot for a while. Obviously, that is not going to happen now. Furphy would make a lot of sense here. A ton of sense. Collier, less so. But their backup is Patrick Beverley, so maybe. Smith, Tyler Smith, maybe. But obviously that's just a Giannis backup. But gives him an opportunity to sit and develop for a year or two when then Lopez sort of ages out. Maybe. Why isn't it Dayron Holmes Jr.? I don't know why some guys go with Jr. or the second. Not really sure. I think a lot of people think that the second looks cooler, and that's why they do it. Moving down to the draft helps their cap situation a bit. Yeah, that's true, Kevin. Can he play next to Jokic? I highly doubt it. I would expect that Filipowski goes to the Knicks. I think he's almost a perfect Hartenstein replacement if that is the direction that they have to end up going because they can't afford Hartenstein. It's funny, you see some people who are not following everyone. So I'll see someone here saying, if I'm the Nuggets, I take Bronny James at 22 because Woj just said that Denver has traded for the Suns pick at 22, sending out these picks, but he didn't say who they're taking. Rasham said who they're taking. So yeah, Bronny's not going at 22. Rob Pelinka said the Lakers view Dalton Connect as a 3 and D wing who will be able to defend 2s and 3s. Anyone want to tell him? By D, does he mean that he's got a penis? Because that's the only D that we're dealing with Dalton Connect here. Or maybe it's the first letter in his name. 3-and-D wing. Bro, you got to be able to defend to be a 3-and-D wing. That term gets overused and thrown around so often. Can Filipowski protect the rim? Yes. Can he pass? Yes. That is why he's the exact perfect replacement. He can shoot, he can pass, he can defend the rim. He's got a negative wingspan, which is annoying, but he is 7 foot tall. He can do all those things. What about Goga to the Knicks? That's an interesting one. That would be a really interesting... Goga would have a shot, I think, to start over Mitch Robb. He probably wouldn't, but there is a chance. He probably wouldn't, actually. But that is an interesting one. I would think that teams would give up more than a minimum for Goga, but maybe not. Maybe not. So we're down to the final 8 picks of the first round now. Waiting on the Bucks to get cracking. The quickest pick we've had is that Pelicans pick. That was like rushed in. It was so fast. Bronny on watch for 28. Yeah, look, the Suns are the only other team I think that might take him. I don't think they will, but yeah. Is it a lot for Holmes? Probably is, SB. But I think Holmes is a pretty decent player. The 3 seconds likely don't amount to anything. But yeah, I guess it is. What happens if time runs out? I believe the pick just gets skipped. Mogbo time? Not here. Mogbo's like 6'8". I don't think he makes sense here. I want Drummond as a Mitch backup. Yeah, wait until you see Drummond play. Rob Palinka said JJ Redick immediately began drawing up pin downs and ATO sets on a whiteboard for Connect for next season. This is like Jimmy Butler going to the gym at 3 a.m. It's just performative. Like, what are we talking about? Come on. I love JJ. That's just performative, though. Somehow this draft is going the same length as a 60-pick draft from last year. It's not. That went for 4 hours and almost killed me by the end of it. All right. Make the pick, Milwaukee. Oh, yeah. The rumor was that Denver promised Daron Holmes. There you go. I guess they did make the promise and they traded up and got him. Brian Schroeder with a comparison. He's miles high Naz Reid. Yeah, that's a really good comparison. If you like Naz Reid, I think you'll like him. The Bucks are selecting AJ Johnson. Are you actually sure about that? Wow, wait. All right. This is to go along with their other great picks of Marjon Beauchamp, Andre Jackson, Chris Livingston. What's going on in Milwaukee? Do I have a AJ Johnson graphic? I didn't even bother with it. Wowee. All right. The Bucks are taking AJ Johnson. Well, that's good for the teams picking behind them. Johnson, maybe Johnson can do like a Peyton Watson and have a horrendous pre-draft year and average 2 points and then turn into a good player. Maybe. But geez. That is interesting. That was from Kelly Eco from The Athletic. I won't put it up on the screen yet. I just want to get a Woj or Shams confirmation. But, man, what? AJ Johnson is like a 6'8", 6'8" wing, played down in Australia for Illawarra. Just barely played. He's got that, like he looks like a player. He's an interesting driver, but like the numbers are terrible. Like terrible. And it's really hard to judge it. SB, that is true. It does not matter who they played. That guy is not who they picked. The Bucks. That guy is not playing. Okay. Yeah, the only spot I saw it was Kelly Eco from The Athletic. So that's why I'm not putting it up on the screen yet. I'm not fully updating my board to say that, but that's what he said. Still waiting for more official confirmation. No offense to Kelly. And then it's the Knicks back-to-back after that with some real value on the board. Real value. Filipowski would be amazing. Collier would be great. Smith would be great. Some real... Furphy would be... Furphy, yeah, he'd be all right. Wouldn't be great for there, I think. Um, 6'4", AJ Johnson 6'4". There you go. What are my thoughts on Bob Carrington's upside or ceiling? Well, they're both the same thing. I'm really big on him. I think he can actually turn into a really strong starting guard. He's big. I think the passing is interesting. I think the shooting is going to be pretty good. It's going to take a little bit of time to get there, but I think, what's best case is top 10 point guard, but that's hard to get to. But I really do like him. I think he's a starter upside player, and I can't say that for everybody in this class. All right, let's get this. Oh, there we go. Shams. Yep, we're confirmed. Shams did say AJ Johnson to Milwaukee at pick 23. Yep. All right. I don't like it, but whatever. Didn't have a graphic for that one because I only went like 55 deep, I think, and I don't think he was in that mix for me. It's okay. Now we move on to the Knicks, who've got 24 and 25. Now, the Knicks in past years have loved trading down. Absolutely loved it. Will they do that again? I would think that is... I thought there was an opportunity here for them to trade up and package those picks, but they never do that. So I wouldn't be shocked if they trade one of these out for a future pick. Who comes in? I got no idea. There's a lot of value here. Collier, huge value. Smith, Furphy. AJ Johnson ahead of Isaiah Collier is actually insane business. You might not view Tyler Smith the way I do, but again, ahead of Collier is like... Ahead of Filipowski is like insane. What are we doing? Like legitimately, what is going on? My voice is cracking. I need a drink. Just one sec. I should have had a different glass here. I think Filipowski's a huge Tibbs guy. Yeah, I think so too. All right. Legitimately don't understand this AJ Johnson pick at all. Whatever. So we're at 24 and 25 for the Knicks. We'll see which direction they go. Okay. The Knicks are trading 24 to the Wizards. There you go. All right. So we knew that there'd be a huge chance of a trade going down here. It's Washington looking to load up with multiple picks in one of the worst picks in the last 15, one of the worst drafts in the last 15 years. It is a strategy, I guess. It's something, but there was zero chance that the Knicks were going to use both of these picks. So at least we get the answer as to who is trading in. It's Washington for, again, some reason. So what do they do here? Because this is where this whole team teardown is really becoming interesting. Oh, no. Keyshawn George. Oh, I don't like that. Jesus, that's not good. Keyshawn George from Miami. And if I had to give you the, like, I guess the background of what he is as a player, my answer would be, I don't know. Like, what does he do well? I don't know. Let's just say it again. I don't get it. I don't know what he brings. I guess he's one of the guys, much like AJ Johnson, where we go, I guess theoretically it works. Like, theoretically, he could be a player. He's got the size, the body shape, I guess it makes sense, but trading in for Keyshawn George, which annoys me because it definitely is written as Keyshawn, it's something, it's business. It's some sort of business. It's probably not good. But what am I doing? I'm going to complain about it at pick 24. I guess my issue is what did you actually trade to get back into the draft to get Keyshawn? Hey, absolutely didn't mean to do that. What did you trade back to do that for? What did you trade back into? I don't get that. Because they have 26 as well. Did they trade 26? No, they wouldn't have because the Knicks wanted to get out of that pick. There's no way the Knicks went from 24 to 26. Or did they? Nah, no chance. Surely not. No way. Is Daron Holmes a good pick? Yes. Agree, Ninja Kip. Collier, if he goes to 26 to the Wizards, Collier and Carrington, maybe they both don't hit, but yeah, that's great. Brodie James is still available, yes. The Knicks traded 24 to the Wizards for 26 and 51. Why? So they did trade. Why? So then Knicks still have 2 picks back to back, and all you got out of it was 51. Just use 24. Obviously, they weren't. They will be like, "Hey, who are you taking?" And they're like Keyshawn George, and they went, "LOL, we're not taking him." So go for it. Still, not really sure. Not really sure what the point of that is. Oh, that's okay. I've seen one person on my timeline who's going crazy about the Bucks picking AJ Johnson. Now, he is Australian and he's from Sydney, so there's a little bit of bias there. But yeah, one person who's getting excited about that. But that is a long-term scenario. Knicks taking Bronny, doubt that. But we'll see. The Knicks really just moved back to get pick 51. What are you going to do with pick 51? The Knicks will now be selecting at 25 and 26, a source tells ESPN. What's the source, Woj? Just the list of draft picks? So they've got 2 picks tomorrow as well, the Knicks, 38 and 51. There's no way they're holding all of these picks. Why would the Wizards trade back in this draft? Obviously, they didn't give up anything to do it. But then take Keyshawn George? Wowee. Okay. Knicks, make your picks. Didn't mean for that to rhyme. Let's make some selections. It's not Kane that's getting exciting. His name's Jed Wells. He works for Sporting News. The Suns, did they get back nothing? They got back 3 second-round picks, but for the Suns, they literally don't care about picks. So I don't know what they're going to do with those second-round picks. I guess it gives them ammo to do stuff because of their cap situation, but yeah, I would have just made the pick if I was them. Jason wants my thoughts on the Raptors pick. I didn't really like it. I think he's a bit of an inefficient chucker. He's a bit of he's a Gary Trent replacement when they've already got Grady Dick. I don't really like Jacoby Walter there. I think his shot selection was pretty rough at Baylor. A lot of other things they could have done there, I think. Okay. What else? Come on. Knicks, let's do this. Let's make a selection. Are they trying to trade again? Come on. Okay. Just waiting for more news here. I hate this. NBA draft. With the 24th pick of the draft, the Knicks select Keyshawn George. I mean, just change the rules, NBA. No one wants to see these fake hats. The Wizards are trading for... Woj way behind on this deal. The good thing about, just to go back to Keyshawn George, is at least he's big. He's 6'8", but he doesn't play super big. But he's got that shooting size. But yeah, we'll see. All right, Knicks. Filipowski is... Man, the Knicks could get Filipowski and Collier. They could get Smith, which they need backup forwards. Well, not as much now that they've got OG and Bridges there, but yeah. The Knicks are in talks of moving 26. Okay. Of course they are. So what are they doing then with that pick, Woj? We don't know what's happening there. Let's just get pick 26 out here. What? Isaiah Collier still there is crazy. Filipowski, crazy. Furphy. Smith. Okay. Come on, picks. I need to get out and finish this up so I can post the audio of it. I think the Wolves grab Kolek and they have 2 backup point guards with rumors of Monte leaving. Jacoby is a valuable playoff asset. He can get you a bucket anytime from anywhere on the floor. That's why he shot under 40% from the field, by the way. So yeah, that's what you need to know. Bring their stats up. I don't have that on me, my guy. Collier is mid. Then what would you call these guys who have all gone ahead of him? Yeah, I don't think Chomchi's going to get picked in the first, unfortunately. Knicks, come on. Let's do something. The Knicks are planning to... Oh, now they're staying at 25 and 26. The most useless trade of all time. They get 51 out of it, which they're not going to keep. Just to move... what for? Well, tell us who they're picking then. Let's make a pick. All the GMs in a WhatsApp group, maybe. They're definitely on the phone. Onyeka season if Capella is traded? I guess so, unless they bring another center in better than him. Who else would be playing center? It would have to be. Ryan Dunn's going to go here, isn't he? The Knicks are going to pick Ryan Dunn, and he's going to have the worst offense of all time. Shyman would be an interesting player here too, I think. There's a lot of interesting rotation-ish sort of guys available. But I think everyone's gone to bed. Flippin' Dunn. I think that Filipowski and Dunn would make sense for them to pick here. I don't know that's what they'll do, though. The Knicks, hang on a sec. What was that? The Knicks, that's an old thing. I thought that was something new. Still waiting on this. The Knicks are not picking Dunn. No way. Dunn feels like a massive Thibodeau guy. But I wouldn't pick Dunn here. I know that much. The offense is just so bad. How's if anyone's watching ESPN, how's Stephen A. Smith going? He's providing good stuff for you. Done is CAA, or there you go. Why is this so slow? This part of the draft is going so slow. Pacome Daddy A. I like it. Interesting. I like it. There are 5 other guys I would have liked more, but I do like it. Didn't think that's what the Knicks would have done there. But there we are. That is a really, really interesting pick, that one. Huh. Pacome Daddy A from Ratio Farm Ulm. He is a 6'8" forward, young, look very similar to a lot of these other French wings, Rissochet and Salin. Salin's a lot bigger. But Daddy A goes to the Knicks at pick 25. Yeah, did not, as much as I like Daddy A, did not think that he would be necessarily in the mix there for New York. But now they've got another pick at 26, and there's a lot of good options available. Let us see which direction they end up going. But Daddy A is like an energy wing with shooting, like real shooting upside. I think he's a little bit lost defensively, but some real shooting upside there for him. All right, let's get through the next pick, which is pick number 26. And that is the New York Knicks again. We'll see which direction they go with for this one. Okay. Interesting pick. French. Woj is calling him a guard, bro. He's like 6'9", 6'8". I think there's some decent upside in Daddy A. I had him 30th. So the guys that I still really like here, Tyler Smith, obviously. Isaiah Collier, obviously. John Furphy, the dildo. Really like him here. Filipowski. These are all guys I've got in my top 20. Trey Alexander, who I didn't expect to go in the first round, but I would have taken him there. Nikola Jurisic. Jonathan Mogbo. Baylor Shireman. They're the guys that I had in the top 30 who are still available. How many top 100 players from this rookie class this year? Typical is 3. I think the average is 3.7. I think 2 max. Max. You see a threat to Precious Achiuwa, who they don't play anywhere. They don't play the same position. Achua's a center, and Daddy A is like a 3-4. They don't nothing to do with each other at all. Best spot for Hartenstein is the Knicks, but yeah, the Knicks. He's staying in New York is the best spot for him. I think he would play 28 minutes a night there comfortably. Like, I'd have to look at other teams' rosters off the top of my head. It's a struggle to see exactly where it will go. Cripple Nipple says, thanks for cranking out the content and for cranking me behind the Ampol, mate. Like, one of the best petrol stations going around. I'm glad they revived that brand, Cripple Nipple, so we can have the memories. Why is Furphy the dildo? Because he was the dick replacement at Kansas. Next pick, 26. It is the Knicks. Let's wait on it. Who's coming through? Kello Ware. I've already got his numbers. We're number 7 for Miami. Okay, cool. That was a quick announcement. Could be a draft and stash for Daddy A as well. Help the salary cap, so remember that part of it. Okay. ESPN has Bronny ranked ahead of Trey Alexander. Okay. L for them. Do I think that Hartenstein should start over Mitch Robinson? Yes, I do. Can we see a minute split? Yeah, it'd be like 27-21, I think. But yeah, I've been saying that Hartenstein's better than Robinson for multiple years now. So that would be what I think it was relatively proven this year. But that doesn't mean it would necessarily happen. But now the Hartenstein one's really intriguing. Like, if he goes to the Thunder, he's like, I don't think he starts. Could he go? There's rumors of him in Charlotte. Would he start over Mark Williams? Probably. Yeah. The Knicks are trading 26 to the Thunder. So they are trading it. Now, if OKC takes Filipowski here, that's a massive W. That is a huge W if that's what they do. I think they will, but I don't know. And I wonder what... The Knicks love a trade out, mate. They love a trade down. So they had 24 and 25, and they're going to end up with 25. They love it. They do it all the time. Yeah, okay. So... Yeah, I think, Filipowski, I think, has got to be thought about here. Again, I would take Tyler Smith. I don't think, Dylan Jones. No, what? Dylan Jones? Woj just spelt it wrong. Dylan Jones? Like, he's an older prospect. He put up massive numbers playing for Weber State, but he did everything for that team. And there is just no way, I don't think, that has any shot of holding in the NBA. I don't even know how to, he rebounded, he passed, he had usage. I don't think the shot's going to be there. I think it's a pretty, Sam Presti, much like, we love to talk about how good the Heat are with their picks. Some of them are good. Some of them are not. Sam Presti, I don't think, did well drafting Usman Jang. The Poku pick didn't work out, although I would have taken it there. But he could have had Şengün, which would have been, he should have done, obviously. I'm not really a fan of that one. Let's see what they get back, though. Dylan Jones is an older player. Again, didn't create a graphic for him. I thought no way he was going round one. But he's like a forward / guard, but it's more of a forward who just did everything playing for Weber State for 2 years. His name was in the draft last year, and there was a chance that he could go into the first round last year, but then went back to school. He's 6'5". He is 22 and a half, which is very old for a Thunder prospect. He averaged 10 rebounds and 5 assists with 2 steals. He shot only 32 from 3 and doesn't take many of them. He's a sort of a power forward center in a shooting guard's body who can't shoot, who had a usage of 30% at Weber State. That's one that I don't really get. Now we are looking at Minnesota. at 27, who've already made one pick, a massive W pick, getting Rob Dillingham. And we'll see. Yeah, what do they do here? Kyle Anderson's a free agent coming up for them. They dealt with their guard problem by getting Dillingham. This pick here is probably not going to have a big impact anywhere. But still plenty of guys that we like. Okay. Yeah, Collier, Filipowski, Smith, Furphy. Ooh, Furphy. Huge W Furphy here in Minnesota. I think the fit would be great. Collier, I don't think you really need with Dillingham, but talent just overrides. Smith wouldn't play with Miller, Minot, Towns, Gobert, Reed, just waste of a pick. Furphy. Filipowski, waste of a pick. Furphy. Shireman, actually the other one who'd be pretty good. Shireman would not... No one's ever going to be a one-for-one, but as a Kyle Anderson replacement, Shireman would be interesting. No, 27 was not included in the trade for Dillingham. Is that the oldest player he's ever drafted? It's got to be close to it. Jones to run the second unit. He's not that sort of a player. I don't think he's got the ability to do that. Case and Wallace will run the second unit. Caruso a little bit, but Wallace will have to do it. Oklahoma City is sending 5 second-round picks to the Knicks for Dylan Jones. Why? Okay, second rounds cost nothing, obviously. What? What are the Knicks doing with 5 second-round picks? I know they lost a lot of firsts, but... Yeah, okay. Don't really get it. It's a lot, man. Don't really get it. Fred Katz said, he hasn't gotten word that the Knicks would draft and stash Daddy A, but if they do, it's a big money saver. Instead of having 2 first-round picks, they can use those slots with minimums to give themselves more room under the hard cap, which is probably what they do. They move out of those 2 firsts. They get a bunch of seconds into it, which aren't going to be this year, obviously, and some of them are, but not all of them. And then they save money, which they need to do. And it doesn't look like the seconds are any from this year in this trade. They got the extra one from Washington, but that's it. Wow. 5 is a lot, man. What are these picks don't even mean anything at this point. Do I think Case and Wallace gets hurt by Dylan Jones? Absolutely not. Topic, maybe, but Topic won't play this season. Or won't play very much at all. You hope Minnesota takes Filipowski. Yeah, that's just too many guys there. I guess maybe you don't want to waste the talent, but I think there are better players available. The 5 second rounds are coming in the next 3 years. Okay. Minnesota is targeting Terrence Shannon at number 27. Shannon struggled with some of his shooting, but shot well from 3 this year. He's old. He's 24. Yeah, fine. Don't mind it. Reserve sort of a guard, which is okay. Yeah, it's okay. I don't love Shannon. I think I had him more of as a second round guy, but hard as a general rule. If you said Terrence Shannon went at 27, I'd be like, that's okay. When I look at some of the guys who are available in the draft, then I get a little bit weirder with it. I don't think it's that great in that spot, but I think it's, yeah. Oh, this is Phoenix now. I think that is, yeah, that's fine. He's fine. He's bit of a scoring guard who has some shooting inconsistencies, which is a bit of a worry. Not going to have to play a really big role here, but they did have depth needs at guard behind Ant. Not that Shannon's going to step in necessarily and be Anthony Edwards, obviously. But yeah, it's not a bad pick at all. Now Phoenix at 28. Surely Collier goes here. Has to be. Ryan Dunn. What? Someone said 22nd pick. Ryan Dunn is what I'm hearing. They said the 22nd pick, though. It's obviously not the 22nd pick. Or it is. Ryan Dunn at 28. Oh, yuck. I know that they don't need offense and they need defense. So I get it. I get it from that perspective. But like this might be the worst. This might be the worst offensive player I've ever seen come into the NBA. Defensive numbers, actually ridiculous. Like, if he played 30 minutes for fantasy, we would love him. Like, I assure you, we would love what he does in fantasy if he actually could get the minutes. The offense is so bad, though. He might average 2 points a game in 25 minutes if he even got to 25. But as a, like the Royce O'Neal role, I guess he's in that mix. Yeah, okay. I thought some team would take Dunn there. The defensive stuff is just ludicrous. But that's like a legit just defensive specialist. Yeah, like the offense is, I can't even exaggerate how bad that is, or how bad his defense is. Let's see if I can bring up Dunn's offensive stuff. All right, so let's look. He averaged in 28 minutes a night, 8 points. He shot 20% from three, 50% from the line. He averaged 2.3 blocks and 1.3 steals. But he is 21 and a half. He's 6'8" as a wing. He plays like a center. Like really small ball stuff, maybe. He's not going to play very much, I'm guessing, for Phoenix. All right, still real value here. Like there's 2 picks left in the first round, and I've got 3 guys left who are in my top 15. So I think there's great steal value in these guys, obviously. But I was always well aware that I was not Collier necessarily, but the other 2 I was way higher on than others. And Filipowski, pretty crazy to me that he's still there. Shyman, I'm a little surprised, but now we're at Utah. I think I would have taken Collier at 10 for Utah. Josh hates Virginia players. No, I literally don't care about the college they went to at all. Ninja, you're right that they have a young prospect in Dillingham, but old does not mean NBA ready. Old means old. It means they weren't good enough to be an NBA player until they were beating up kids 6 years younger than them. That's what old means. It does not mean NBA ready. Let me assure you of that. What reason is Collier falling this far? Apparently there was some bad attitude stuff, but the shot is also really quite poor for him. It's just pretty crazy to me that he's falling this far down. Dunn is like Thibault. Better shot blocker, worse offensive player. Yeah, Donovan Hunter's bad. It was a terrible pick for it. I was very much justified for saying that was a bad pick. It's nothing to do with Virginia, though. I do not care about Virginia one way or the other. Yeah, Dunn would make a lot of sense in fantasy on a punt points team, but he has to play enough to actually get those minutes. He's like the value of what Thibault brings. But again, better shot blocker, way worse offensive player. Way worse. Oh, here we go. Isaiah Collier at number 29. Yes. All right. We are back. This is huge because as much as Keontae George was really good last season, I don't know that he's a guaranteed set in stone starting point guard, he might be a 2. And this is a great opportunity for Isaiah Collier to develop here. Really good. Not going to do much for him this year. It's not an easy path to get there straight away, but like that is really good. That's really good for Collier to jump across there at 29. Like, again, would have taken him at 10. So I love them grabbing him there at 29. Really strong. Collier is 6'3", without shoes as a point guard. Attacks the rim, gets the free throws a lot, doesn't hit them. 67% last year at USC. The three-point shooting is not good. I think he's a pretty good passer. Came in as a top 5 recruit. I think this fall is completely unjustified. I think that defensively there were some moments. I think this is going to turn into a massive steal. And if I had to say what my biggest steal of the draft so far is, it's probably him. Now, obviously, I've got guys who haven't even been picked yet who I think are going to be steals too. But I think this is huge. This is a really, really good value pick at 29. Yeah, you got to be happy about it. So I just got to make adjustments to my ticker. Make sure that all the relevant recent picks are up on the screen. But as a pick at 29, might not work out. Don't care. Got to do it. Love it. Love this pick. One of the picks that I'm the happiest about in this draft. Because it goes to a team where there is a potential need for it. And it's just, as I just bring the wrong screen across there, not the Celtics pick yet, my guys. No, Utah has got Collier. My bad. Production error. Getting tired. So we are down to the final selection. It's Boston at 29. They can take anyone. They don't need anything. Filipowski would be awesome as a backup center. That is Tyler Smith, awesome stretch big man. Johnny Furphy, awesome as a Sam Hauser addendum. Whether they've got so many different ways to make this pick a W, and they don't have anything pressing they need to do. Filipowski, I think, is probably going to happen. Yeah. Collier is the point guard, Isaiah Stewart. Why? Because they look the same. Well, that's literally the only reason why. Horton Tucker's done, by the way. Do I think Connect was a steal? Nope. I do not. El Espiritu en la Máquina. I do need a Built Bar. I haven't eaten all day. And I am hungry. It's almost 1 p.m. here. Okay. I'm basically going to boot straight after this because I need to go and grab some food, have a drink, stretch my legs, get the audio version of this out, and then work out what we're going to do tomorrow. But we'll do a quick recap of what I like and didn't like and the best guys left available for me. Who you know, it's already going to be Tyler Smith. What's this? Yeah. Hang on. Did I say something about Hartenstein? I must have... I think I imagined that. Yeah, I did. That's fine. Ignore that. It was something completely different. Connect on my board was 21. Okay. Let's get this last pick out of here. Having Collier go that far down is crazy. Thanks everyone for being here. If you haven't hit a thumbs up on it, do it. It'd be great. Loved having you guys here. Put the effort into some of the presentation stuff, which I hope worked out well. And just talking about these things as they go down. A lot of draft stuff, recaps, and dynasty stuff coming over the next week or so with some free agency. Then I'm off to Summer League to watch these guys in person, which should be cool, I hope. I think it'll be cool. There's so many guys that watching them at Summer League is going to be really key. Like Zach Edey, one of the biggest ones there, although he's going to beat up a lot of those players there. Watching like what Collier can do, like so many of these players. Who like struggles a lot? What does it mean? Really, yeah. What do I think of the Knicks pick? Upside? Yeah, he's got upside. He wouldn't play at all this season, and he's probably going to end up, I would guess, overseas. Yeah, Collier did need to be French. So we had 3 French wings and a French big man go in the first round. 4 French guys in the first round. Baylor Scheiman at 30. Pretty good pick. Scheiman is he's old. But he can pass, he can shoot. He will probably, Baylor Scheiman for the Celtics, be in the rotation. I would guess he's a real shot to be in the rotation early on. Not a guarantee, of course, but a legitimate shot to be in that rotation very early on. So that is him. Did I have a graphic for him? I did. There you go. Baylor Scheiman, 6'6", he's a wing, he shoots threes, he passes, he runs pick and roll. Defense is not very good at all, but on this team, that's fine. Bit of a ball handler, Pritchard, Hauser, coming off the bench. That's an absolute home run, I think. As much as it is, again, like I said, home run. I love Filipowski there. I would have loved Smith there. I would have liked Trey Alexander there. Scheiman's a very good pick, and he is going to be a part of their rotation, I am pretty sure. And that brings us to the end of this NBA Draft Live show. So, my best available players are Tyler Smith. My next best is the dildo John Furphy. Disappointing he didn't go. The next best is Kyle Filipowski. Really shocked those 3 are still there. Trey Alexander. 4th best available for me. Nikola Jurisic next. Jonathan Mogbo. Jalen Wells. Cameron Christie. Ulrich Chomsky. AJ Mitchell. And Isaiah Crawford. Guys that I didn't have in the top 30 that got drafted today. Keyshawn George. Ryan Dunn. Terrence Shannon. Tristan Da Silva. I think that's AJ Johnson, Dylan Jones. Sorry, those guys as well. So 6 guys I didn't have in my top 30 got drafted in the first round. We'll see who ends up being right on those in 5 years' time. So what do I like here? I like Collier there for sure. I like Sarr to the Wizards. I like the Wizards getting Carrington. Someone said, are there any fantasy targets for it? Look, probably not, honestly. Sarr, you'll be the first guy I'm guessing off the board. Otherwise, I don't think I'd touch anyone else in the top 100. It's not a good class. The situations are not great. I love Ron Holland going to 5 as well. It's going to be tough to get the shooting going, but yeah. Yep. Thanks everyone for being here in the live chat. If you are here, of course, hit that thumb, subscribe. I'm going to go and have a little bit of a break, and then we get ready to do it all again tomorrow. So, for the last time today, guys, thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.